Hello, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran, and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and Joe Dehls. This is episode 355. In this episode, we're going to be grading every single NBA team at the halfway point of the NBA season. How you doing today, fellas?
Doing pretty damn good. Can't complain too much. Excited to talk about all 30 NBA teams. Some people got to do the grind, and we're going to be those people to really put our heads down and really lock in. But how are we doing, gentlemen?
What's the update on the 1v1 on Twitter?
I'm winning the poll.
Oh, okay. Is it close, landslide?
It's a good amount. I think I'm beating
60-40?
58, 40 something, whatever it is. You know, I'm beating him by a good amount.
The vote, by the way, on Riv's poll, shout to Durag Riv,
Shout out.
is who would win in a one-on-one, Riv or Drew? If you guys want to see that, let us know in the comments. Maybe we can make a video out of it.
The unfortunate truth is that I have dealt with...
I want a video of that.
I've dealt with unfortunate racism when it comes to basketball.
You could hoop. I've never seen Riv hoop, but you could hoop.
I pull up to the scene, they look at me, they're like, who is this guy? I don't know, get picked last, and suddenly I'm amazing. And then they're all upset they didn't draft me sooner. But it's okay, you know. It's not like Riv's a scrub at basketball, not by any means, but, you know, I've been underestimated on the court one too many times already, so what's another? I
think somebody explained it perfectly. It's like pretty much a two-way slasher that can't shoot versus a 3-and-D with 0 handles. So it's whoever's taller is probably going to win. So.
Whoever's taller and stronger.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Drew has a great chance to beat you.
Drew doesn't use a strength, so
what
I'm not
if
worried.
he posts you up just in the entire game?
He won't.
That's not your game?
That's not his game at all.
If it's a one-on-one,
yes, I'm saying one-on-one.
I literally have to.
I know he's not gonna do it. Like he's
gonna take jump shots.
He's gonna try to get downhill. He's gonna try to do something. He wants to get comfortable.
This is gonna happen first play of the game. We're gonna throw a pump. He's gonna jump. I'm gonna drive. That's a bucket right there. That's already
y'all played a
one-on-one
before?
Never. We never even guarded each other for real.
You've never guarded each other?
Nope.
Oh, this will be fun.
We're teammates.
This will be the first time.
We're always teammates.
Teammates, shit.
Or if we're like on opposite teams, he guards a bigger player. I'll guard like a guard.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And for that, we got to lock in, fellas. We're going to talk about 30 NBA teams. We got to lock in with some Magic Mind if we got to do that.
Time to lock in, boys. Last one?
It's the last one.
That's what
Magic Mind, supply some more, man. We need some more. Yeah. We need some more on the show. Now, you get 1 month of Magic Mind for free when you're subscribing for 3 months. And if you use our code PICKASIDE20, you will get an extra 20% off, which gets you off 56% of subscription.
I was waiting for Joel to
me
be
and
done.
Dehls stopped because
I was about to. We locked eyes.
He said it's time to lock in. So
but we were waiting for him to speak.
When you got Magic Mind, you got to drink it at your own pace.
Thank you.
It's too good not to drink right away. I understand what you were saying. It's too good. I was actually mad I couldn't drink when you drank because I had to say what I had to say.
I respect you. You're doing your job. Let's also address the elephant in the room. How are you feeling about my hair?
I told Drew this in the car when I went to pick him up. For whatever reason, he came from behind my car. He usually just comes out of his house, and I'm looking because there's like 2 other kids with him. They're like younger, and I'm looking. I'm like, who is that? And I looked away. I'm like, that's not Drew. And I looked again as he got closer. I was like, I didn't even recognize him.
I don't know when it was, but whenever you started playing 2K again, you started trying to make what you are in real life a 2K player.
2K does he have a little fro?
There is one that has a fro. There's one that has braids, and then there's the other one that has like my normal curly hair.
Right. Hey, listen, you're not too far away from braids now.
My hair is long. I think I tweeted it, and people didn't realize how long my hair is. This really was to show that I have long ass hair. Mm-hmm. My shit has some boing to it.
People don't understand how long curly hair is because it's condensed.
How long is your hair?
Oh, my hair. It would go like
long.
this. It would be like this.
You ever thought about doing it or no? Just for fun?
That only happens when I get braids. That they'll do it, but I would never be seen in public with that.
I also did this to beat allegations, just so people know what's up.
Yeah, 8% black is kicking in. That's what you said.
Riv, I want you to know, I read that tweet and I fucking cackled.
What?
The bro's taking this 8% shit too serious. Bro, that was hilarious.
I'm the only black guy on the show, man. Let's keep it that way.
Are you upset that?
Why are you gatekeeping?
He's gatekeeping like hell, bro.
Are you 50% black?
Don't we want to embrace the community? Really, just like.
Oh, okay. So now the one time I want to gatekeep, it's a problem.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Well, sharing the love. I gave you the 8%.
You did, bro. Last show. That's why I'm
kind of shocked. And I let you say words that we, you know, I've let you. I've let you on the hook.
The allegations are crazy.
Yeah, you know,
what?
So
Come on, man. Jesus Christ.
I'm saying I've let you done some things, some dangerous things lately.
How many of the fans watching things do you think that You say the word.
How many of them
Yes.
think? Probably like 90%.
Rate 1 to 10.
90%.
How likely it is you think Drew has said it or has not? 0 to 10.
8%. At what percentage can you say? Like, what if I did a 23 and I was like 0.8%?
Stop, Dehls.
I feel
I'm
like
saying
he's
like
cooked.
what percent can you like?
0.8 is
0.8
definitely
is
not-
crazy.
That's not.
I'm
a
saying
percentage.
to flex and be like, oh yeah, I'm 0.8%.
I guess I'm not one to talk. I really only have 8%, but it's 8% that I embrace.
Did it show you who it came from?
I told you the Congo and the Mbundu.
Okay.
I need to take an ancestry
I was
test.
gonna ask a question, but never mind.
What happened? Do you want to ask?
No.
Is it one that I won't have an answer to?
I don't know, but it was more of a joke than
Okay,
a
that's good
question.
You haven't took your ancestry though, right? It was your brother's.
My brother took it correct.
Jess told me that it differs between siblings.
Even
So
if
his DNA
it's the
test might
same
be
mom and
different than
dad.
yours. Yes.
Interesting.
How does that work?
I have no
I'm actually
idea.
curious how that works.
But she searched it up and that was the answer.
Did she look it up because I said that I was 8% black?
Nah, she looked it up before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she looked it up
I was gonna
because
say,
she's from
she's like,
a
something
bunch of
specific-
places.
suspicious here.
I want to take my ancestry test.
Okay.
I feel like
yeah.
I'm mixed with a lot of different stuff.
If you come back and you're not like 99% El Salvadorian, are you going to feel like...
I'll be pretty upset.
That's how I...
No, I'll say if I was, I'd be pretty upset. I do want to be mixed with a lot of different
No,
things.
no, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why, you were upset that you weren't 99% Puerto Rican?
I was kind of shocked. More not
What percent
upset.
was it?
I was shocked. It was not that high, believe it or not. It was a lot of Portuguese in Spain.
But you think about it, DNA could fluctuate because you and your brother, y'all look alike.
They look exactly alike.
Charles has much lighter skin.
Correct.
does.
He's the white boy
And
of
it's
the,
kind of like
the family.
light or like dark blonde,
You're
right?
whiter than
His
him.
hair.
Nah.
Chuck is definitely white.
Is he?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. It's obvious in the summer. Like,
Okay.
extremely obvious in the summer.
Okay.
And then his hair is a lot more... Fine? Is that the word I'm looking for?
He doesn't. You guys have totally different hairstyles.
Oh,
You
D.
guys do. You guys do look exactly alike.
We
that.
do. Like this
In the
right
face,
here.
facts.
This
In the
right
face,
here
in the
is
face,
very similar. There's a picture of me. It's a Christmas card. It's me, my dad, and my brother, and it's three of the exact same faces. It's the only picture that I see, and I'm just like, wow, we are really super similar in the face.
It's a fact.
While the shared DNA between full siblings includes 25% of the mother's DNA and 25% of the father's DNA, the DNA shared between a parent and I guess this shit stopped. Oh, I fucking hate articles like this, man.
Grandparents, I guess.
Do full siblings have the same exact DNA? On average, we share about 50% of those with our full siblings.
Okay, so there's another 50.
Yes.
So you're telling me there's a chance that I could have more percentage
Or less.
Yes.
or less.
Or less.
So how does it go for
That'd be
how many? How
unfortunate.
much would it be for siblings who only share one parent?
That's interesting. I'm assuming 25%.
Yeah,
you
'cause-
have to cut it in half.
Yeah, exactly.
Me and all my siblings, we only share moms.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Are we going to spitball these teams that we want to grade, or is it going to be in alphabetical order?
I have it in alphabetical order.
I'm fine doing either or.
I feel like if we do it by alphabetical order, it could get in terms of like the ups and the downs, it could be a lot more sporadic. Because we start with the Hawks, and then right after we talk about the best team in the NBA, and then right back after we talk about the Brooklyn Nets. You know, so I feel like the ups and downs could be interesting for the conversation.
For sure. Let's start with the Atlanta Hawks. It's a C.
I gave him a
Just
C
average.
minus.
I would have a C minus as well. This is a team that coming into the season, there was I think some hopefulness that they could maybe sneak into that 6th seed potentially as like a ceiling, but definitely playing team. Especially last year, they took Boston to 6 in the first
did.
round.
They
Trae
did.
Young was fantastic, and now you're sitting here. Fast forward a year, and the biggest rumor around your team is trading your best player, Trae Young.
Yeah,
That's got to hurt
ridiculous.
if you're a Hawks fan. So it's hard to give this any higher than like a C minus.
I would give it a C. I just think they could have made moves at the deadline. I think they kind of were reaching for or trying to get too much for DeJounte Murray. I think at that point you should have just moved him for whatever quality you can get for him. You got a lot of players that are good, but they're kind of hindering the young players. Griffin just got sent to the G League. Onyeka still comes off the bench. Jalen Johnson has been great for them in his own right. You're possibly going to trade Trae Young. Like, this is just, you have done a poor job of building this roster post Eastern Conference Finals appearance when they made it with Trae Young. You have not put the right guys around Trae Young. You've completely botched what you have with a superstar player. And now you sat at another deadline and you made 0 moves yet again. So definitely, we being nice. It really should be a D. But, I'm cool with giving them a C.
I only gave them a C minus and not a D because they have two things that at least intrigue me. Trae Young being one of the best point guards in the Eastern Conference, and he's just been a superstar in his own right, where he is one of the sole reasons why they are a respectable offense. He really is the sole reason that they are as efficient as they are. Because you look on the opposite side, their defense is atrocious, and given circumstance, you could argue this is the worst defense in the NBA because they have talented players. They're simply just not playing like it. You have Capella, you have Onyeka Okongwu, who, yes, I know just got injured and he's going to miss some time, and Clint Capella in his own right has missed a couple of games too. But you give up the third most points in the paint with two of the better bigs, let me not say two of the better bigs, but you understand what I'm saying. In terms of depth, there are not many teams that have the luxury to have two bigs. Onyeka Okongwu has not been good this season. Extremely disappointing. So for that to be the case, it really is very telling on what the Atlanta Hawks are doing right now in terms of just sheer will or drive to want to be great. But 10th in the East, 11th in offensive rating. Again, like I mentioned, that's because of Trae Young. 29th in defensive rating, 21st in net rating. And the other positive I would give them is Jalen Johnson and his emergence, his ability to get a basket, to play make, which I think is an underrated quality of his. Rebounding, of course, the defensive side of the ball. They have two players that you can look at and think, hey, these could be the two pieces for our young core that we can move on with the future. But like Joel mentioned, they're already flirting with the idea of trading Trae Young. It's speaking volumes on the trajectory of this roster right now. So if you wanted to give him a D, I can understand, but I feel like Trae Young and Jalen Johnson alone, I feel like I have to keep him in the C range.
What else could the Hawks have done to build around Trae Young? I look at the Hawks roster, top to bottom, it's a talented team. I think a lot of those players on those teams would go to other teams and they would be highly impactful role players on those teams. I look at the coach, Quinn Snyder, I think he's a good coach.
Not a bad coach.
He's a good coach. Usually, when teams get stuck in the middle, they don't draft well. When the Hawks traded down with the Mavericks and they removed their right to draft Luka, they drafted Trae and they got 2 first-round picks, so they got a first-round pick. They drafted Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter in that draft, 2020 draft. The year after, they draft Onyeka Okongwu. The year after, they draft Jalen Johnson. These are good players. Mm-hmm. So I look at the Atlanta Hawks, and I'm wondering why they're not better. What else could they have done to build around Trae Young to where they can compete? I think you have to trade Trae Young because there's no more going up. Mm-hmm. Like, what are they doing wrong? I don't think they're doing much wrong.
They are talented players. I'm sorry, Joe, but real quick, they lack effort on the defensive side of the ball. The players that you named, yet you look at probably DeAndre Hunter, solid defensive player, or had the potential to do that until, of course, injuries have definitely taken a toll on him. You look at Jalen Johnson, he's one of the few that you mentioned that really have solidified themselves on the defensive side of the ball. You didn't mention AJ Griffin, right? You didn't mention AJ Griffin, who, like Riv mentioned, is now in the G League. He's been a relative.
And last year he was solid.
Well, in the few minutes that he did play, in his limited opportunity, he did. And for him to not get that same opportunity this year has definitely been a little disappointing, but it seems like you take a look at that DeJounte Murray move, and that was supposed to be the move that moved the needle for them on the defensive side, and it hasn't.
That's what screwed them up, is trading for DeJounte Murray. I mean, at the time, we thought it was a solid deal because of how great DeJounte was as a defender with San Antonio, but I don't want to call it all of their eggs in one basket because it's not like, they trade 5 or 7 first-round picks, but they gave up. That was basically his running mate.
Oh, yeah.
You go get the number 2. Like, Luka's number 2 now is Kyrie over LeBron and AD. You always get that number 2 that you want to grow this team with. They chose DeJounte Murray, and it's clear that he's not a good fit with Trae. I
think it might be that, and it's not a knock on Trae, but Trae just can't be the best player on the championship team.
It's going to be tough.
I think when you think of an ideal partner to pair with him, why do we love the idea of him going to San Antonio? Because we know Wembanyama is going to be better than him, and we know Wembanyama is going to be one of the top players in the world.
I don't think
soon.
I think it's I think it's
yes
a 50-50.
And no. Yeah, your statement's right, but also I don't agree fully.
You need an anchor defensively,
yes,
especially when you have a guard that is hindered on that end, and
correct.
I think. Even there was flirtations with Trae Young possibly playing with like I feel like a couple years ago people thought like him and AD would be a great combination.
That's the best pairing.
Still can
That's what I'm saying. You need like same thing with Steph Curry. Like you need an anchor that can anchor the defense to where he can anchor the offense. Because if you have a bunch of players offensively that can help him, but you don't have a bunch of defensive players that can do what he cannot, then the team is just gonna look funky. And this team doesn't have any. It was supposed to be DeJounte, but DeJounte is not a defensive anchor. He's a guy who can help your defense, and he did that with San Antonio. He helped, but they had anchors. They don't have that in Atlanta. So it just, I don't know if that Trae Young, I don't think can be the best player in the championship team, but I also think like he also needs to play with the right guys to maybe contend for a championship.
And I'm not blaming Trae Young for the Hawks' struggles. I think Trae Young has been phenomenal this year. His defense has really improved. So he's doing everything he possibly can to make sure the Hawks are a good team. They're just not a good team. But I think it just speaks to the ceiling of what Trae Young can be if he's the best player on your team. It's just very, very difficult.
Let's move to that next team.
Yeah, let's talk about that next team. A little bit better vibes here, depending on who you are. Yeah, no, I have A+, most definitely.
Boston Celtics talking about.
Have to be. Best record in the NBA, best offensive rating in the NBA, second best defensive rating in the NBA, by far and away number one in net rating. I think the next closest is OKC, and I think they're like 4 points less than them in net rating. The Boston Celtics seemingly have it all right now. They've been playing with that same energy all season long. At home, we understand they're the most dominant team in the league. And, of course, they handle business when they are on the road as well. But, I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, you look at this team and just top to bottom, it seems as if they don't have a hole. The only true concern is the health of Kristaps Porzingis. If he is 100% healthy, there is almost no team in the league that should be favored over them as we currently stand. They have to have an A+.
A+, yeah. I mean, against great teams, they're the best team against teams over 500, best team against teams under 500. They have an eerily similar, if you look at their record as we stand today, 44-12, and their net rating, which is like 10.6, it's identical to the 2007-2008 Boston Celtics team, who we know what happened.
They won the championship that year.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't recall.
That's when he wasn't rocking with the Celtics the way they was now.
No way. I rock with Celtics way more now. So I've really been through more of the mud than anything as a Celtics fan.
You've been through the mud.
No, I'm joking. But no, this team's been sensational. Jason Tatum, top 5, 6 in MVP voting. Jaylen Brown has taken an adjusted role for this team, really locking in on defense, and then offensively, not scoring as many points, but assists are up, turnovers are down. Porzingis fitting perfectly. Drew Holiday's highest 3-point shooting season of his career. Derek White. I mean, top to bottom, this team's been sensational. And we were just talking before the show. There's really no excuse for them not to at least make the finals. Like there's in the East, at least once we get to the West and you got Denver, you got some teams out there, but we were talking about this. We were talking about this last night at Miller's, but outside of a finals appearance, that should be the minimum for this team. Like Drew mentioned, as long as they're healthy.
And it's A+. How much better can you be than the Boston Celtics? As you were naming what they're great at, Drew, when you were talking about the Celtics, Dehls, I'm happy for you, man. You're watching a great basketball team this year. Now, hopefully you can win the championship. I really hope they do for you, because it's, 2.5 years now we're running on with the Celtics that they're favored. Third year TBD. Last year they were favored. They didn't win a championship.
First year, I don't know if we'd say they were
We weren't favored.
They were definitely favored to beat the Warriors in the series.
Well, no. Sportsbooks had them as the underdogs. ESPN fucked up.
Okay. I was curious. When we were out there, that's what we were talking about. And I was
Which
like,
one do we care more about?
For the purposes of this show,
easily.
we'll use ESPNI.
No!
The sportsbooks are the ones taking millions of dollars on it. ESPN doesn't lose nothing.
ESPN is kind of like, what do we,
Yeah, they try to big bro everyone and try to snatch their money.
Okay, I'll give you that then. Last year they were favored.
Yes.
This year they're favored again.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't hate the Celtics, contrary to popular belief.
Let's just...
You're a liar.
I actually hope that they can win a championship. But I don't know how many years it's been now. It just hasn't been 3.
It's been 2.
There have been years before even the past 3 years where I feel like the Celtics should have been better. They should have went to the finals. The second year with Kyrie Irving, when everybody came back, I mean, that was one of the worst vibes teams ever.
It was a lot of me, guys. There was injuries to that team, too.
Exactly.
Injury.
But that team, I had finals expectations for. And I know that after you guys got Kemba, things didn't go your way in the bubble, but, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are still growing. There's just an energy around the Celtics that makes me not fully want to buy into them.
And what is it?
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'm not the only.
Energy.
I'm the only one. I don't think I'm the only one that feels this way, because nobody.
Majority of the world feels like the Celtics are favored.
Mess it up.
True.
Exactly.
The majority of the world feels like the Celtics are going to mess it up, the basketball world. Are you 100% confident the Celtics go in the finals want to win the championship?
100%?
Win a championship?
That's what the goal should be this year.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
But in terms of the Eastern Conference and getting to the finals, I'm damn near 100% confident that they can do it. Winning the finals is tough for the idea of the Nuggets really haven't been playing all too serious in terms of what we've seen them play at last season. And the Clippers, who are legitimately let me not say they're Boston Celtics level well-rounded, but they're pretty damn close in their own right.
I don't think it's, and by the way, what you said about not 100% trusting the Celtics, I think is fine. There's rarely a team who hasn't won a championship with their core group that you go into a playoff setting with being like, I know this team's going to do it. Before Denver won last season, there were still questions around, can Denver win a championship? I mean, fucking LeBron, before he won his first ring, all of the jokes and memes about him in the finals. Like, until you actually do it, no one's going to 100% believe you. But adding Porzingis to this team, I think that's the key that can unlock it.
What do you think, Rev?
They're the most unstoppable team in the league. I mean, you guys.
You mentioned, you saw firsthand last night against Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
What's your confidence level? The same question I asked you, I want you to answer.
I would say 9 out of 10. I think my confidence, like to come out the East, I would say 10 out of 10. In the finals, it really just depends on who they play. If it's like Denver, I go like 7 out of 10. If it's Clippers, about 6, 7 out of 10. I think those are.
You're more confident in the Clippers right now than the Nuggets?
To play Boston?
No, to win a championship. I'm gonna be honest. I feel that way.
I feel like it really depends on the path for me. Like
Okay.
I think all these teams provide different challenges and they all provide different paths. Like Denver, because they have the experience, but the Clippers have Kawhi, so it's like I have the same like trust level in both teams.
Fair enough.
Maybe a little bit more with Denver because I've seen the Clippers
did it.
choke before.
Mm-hmm.
So like and I think with Boston, coming out the East, I think for them the issue is internally. It's always with them internally. Like I don't think they past 2-3 years they've had the most talent in the East. They've walked into series, they're the clear best team. But everything always happens internally with coaching or just their mental. So I think I do think they walk out the East this year. But I think in the finals that's really where it's going to be tested. But I'm pretty confident in Boston.
The one thing I'm most curious to see, and then we'll move on because we don't got to spend too much time, is Jason Tatum has mentioned this in pressers before that he knows game in and game out, there's going to be games where he doesn't have to go up there and put up 30, 40 points for us to win. Like he knows there's going to be, whether it's playmaking, rebounding, defense. He knows the talent is at such a high level on this team that he doesn't need to take over. Once the playoffs come around, I think that mindset needs to change. The Celtics, it's going to be very difficult to win a championship if Jason Tatum isn't playing around a top 5 level pretty consistently. Definitely. We could talk about Porzingis, Jaylen Brown, Joe Mazzulla, all of these dudes. But to me, I need to see Jason Tatum, I don't want to say change his mindset because he's been great this season, but there has to be moments where either the threes aren't falling, you're in a fourth quarter situation, you're Jason Tatum, the best player on this team. You can't be like, all right, I'm going to get an open shot for Drew Holiday in the corner, even though that's been damn near the best shot in basketball. But there's got to be moments where it's like, this is where I step up to my occasion. This is where I cement myself. And if you win a championship, that's going to basically, I don't want to say not end your career, but in terms of Hall of Fame, like that's the last step. And he knows it. So those Hall of Fame, those type of dudes that he could get to, if he's able to win a championship, potentially win more, that's what he has to do.
And that's the difference between him and the guys like Kawhi, the Joker, Steph. That's the difference.
The gap.
They know
that's the gap.
When it's time, playoff time, don't give a fuck about who it is. They're the best players when they walk in every night, LeBron and shit like so. Yeah, no,
I'll tell you what's a little bittersweet in that regard, though, because Tatum's had some of those moments where he is the best player on the court by far. I think of that Game 6. We literally had this conversation yesterday about how I understand he has the record for most points in a Game 7. That game versus Milwaukee, Game 6 in Milwaukee, is like his stamp on him saying, I am one of the league's best.
But I don't think the East is a problem for him.
Nope.
I don't
agree.
think he's scared of anybody.
But I say that with that idea.
West.
Agreed. He's had moments like that, but then what's the overwhelming instance of his career that allows people to not remember Game 6 in Milwaukee is the unfortunate collapse in the finals.
You got to do it in the biggest
Wiggins
moment. You got to do it in Game 7s. You got to do it in the finals. Although, he did it Game 7 against Philly. But especially in the finals, that's when you got to make your money.
The recent interview with Malika, was it Malika Andrews or Taylor Rooks?
No, it was Malika.
It was Malika Andrews.
It was Taylor Rooks. He's been saying a whole bunch of bullshit.
You saw they said Jalen's got 1 year to win 5 rings.
I know Tatum is a soft-spoken person. The way he answered that question of if he thinks he's the best in the world,
he didn't believe it.
Wish there was a little bit more confidence to it. I didn't feel like I believed that he believed it. Quite frankly, I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but with how he said it, I feel like he was still timid.
Last year he said Giannis was the best player in the world. Now he's saying Sim.
I feel like if you have a case as being one of the best in the world, you can still firmly say, yeah, I'm the best. But there's also some type of self-awareness that needs to be had where, hey, I haven't won a championship. I haven't won an MVP. I could argue I've been the best player this season, but what my accolades or lack thereof has not helped me be stamped best in the league. I can understand a little bit.
I think Tatum was on Wallow's show, Wallow and Gil, and not Wallow and
Gillian Wallow.
I think that was worth the game.
Yeah, and he named his top 5 player. He didn't put himself in it. I think this was last year.
Last offseason,
yeah,
I think.
He put
I remember
all the guys that won, essentially, like Steph, LeBron.
He knows it, too. He's been saying it in these
He needs to win. Once he wins, he feels like...
It's tough, though, because there's not many people that play offense and defense as well-rounded as he does.
Really,
so it's like he has a case. He should believe it, being one of the best in terms of him believing it.
He has no case right now.
If he believes it or not?
No case.
No, he should be, but he's good enough to say, I'm the best player.
That's
I think that's fine.
That's what I'm saying.
He doesn't have a legit case to be the best player.
No. Fucking Jokic just won a championship, Finals MVP,
He got to get that ring.
Yes.
He got to do it in like some real legit
He can't even
fashion.
be seen over Giannis yet, and he's beaten Giannis in the playoffs.
We'll move off the Celtics in 2 minutes. I want to get this last scenario out there because I just thought of it. And plus, Celtics are an interesting team. They're the best team in the East.
This is
we
the
should
most
devote
time
more
that
time
we've
to them.
divided.
30 minutes in.
to them.
It's
Let's
just
go,
30
Dehls.
minutes in 2 teams.
There will be some
we're
teams
pacing
where
time.
we were talking about some shit beforehand.
We were.
True.
So, okay.
Oh, well, we get to Charlotte. We could just...
Yeah. Well, I like Charlotte Loki. What do you mean? I'm just kidding.
You want to disregard Grant Williams? The Grant
Hey,
Williams?
I'll
era?
let
Drew do all the talking.
4-0.
We're gonna start conversations.
Now they're what,
Joel.
14 and what?
What conversations?
I'm not gonna say anything.
14 wins,
I'm not
though,
gonna say
hey.
anything.
4
They're
less than
14
they
and
had.
41. They're 14 and 41.
It's 14.
That's the opposite of the Celtics.
Hold on,
Damn
they
near.
are the
We're
next team. So
44
let's not
and
move.
12.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Go
Okay,
ahead.
what's the scenario?
So the
I'm
scenario
sure it's
is,
going to be positive and
for
great.
one, when you were talking about Tatum winning championship,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable to me. Thinking of that scenario, him winning and where he'll be placed because he's so young. I think
25.
sometimes we forget that. No, he's 26. I don't think he's 25. I think
He
he's
turns
26.
26 in a couple weeks.
So he's 25 right now.
sometime
Jalen
in
Brown's
March.
26.
Okay.
Jalen Brown's 26.
He's
know what I'm talking
25, about to turn 26.
Maybe 26.
Jason Tatum is a 5-time All-Star. He's about to be a 4-time All-NBA player.
Sure.
If he wins a championship, I'm not going to say I'm going to say it, but will a lot of people have him as the best player in the world?
I don't think so. I
Why not? Because he's accomplished everything you got to
He has
accomplish
to have a, he
to
would
be
have
the
to
best
have
player in the
a
world.
real, he'd have to real dominant finals performance. He would
after-
have to go out there and put up damn near like triple double
after
on
the
great
bubble,
efficiency to do that.
And people were saying AD was the best player in the world after they won the championship.
Number 2. He was they said number 2.
No, they say he was the best player in the world.
never
People were
heard that.
pushing for that.
He was definitely viewed as top 2,
Top 2, most
3.
definitely.
Yeah,
But
for
LeBron
sure.
was
if
just finals
Tatum
MVP.
wins it, would he have a better case than when AD had a case after the bubble?
For sure.
Yeah.
He's the best player on the team.
Here's my rationale to why he wouldn't be. Think about what it took for Jokic to be stamped as best in the world. 2 MVPs back to back, and then finally winning a championship and finals MVP. He would still need his MVP, which he does not have. And also, let's look at another player, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Same resume as Nikola Jokic, and he closed out the final with a 50 ball. And he's been stamped for a few years as the best player in the league outside of last year. Steph Curry, who has the only unanimous MVP season, if I'm not mistaken, went back-to-back, has 4 MVPs, 4 finals, 1 finals MVP, has not been unanimously stamped as the best player in the league, not one time in his career. For it to be given to Jason Tatum like that early into his career would be a little preemptive.
That's a good argument, but it's different. Steph Curry was dominating an era that had LeBron James
Unfortunately, yes.
in this era, as much as I love Nikola Jokic, I don't think there's a consensus he's the best. For me, he's the best.
I
but
think most people do.
There could
was
be
either him or Giannis. It was
arguments
always a
made
back and
for
forth.
Giannis. Exactly. Right now, the best player in the world throne is up for grabs. Jokic is the best player in the world because he won a championship.
Yeah.
Had he not won, those people that had him outside the top 3 because they thought him being a defensive liability in the playoffs would cost his team. If Tatum wins a championship, I think that's going to be pushed, that he is the best player.
I think
in the
it'll
world.
also be pushed, but the resume and the case for
To
the
be
other
fair,
two
He'll be
guys can be above
stamped
him.
top 5 most deaths.
After the 2022 summer, people were pushing Steph was the best player in the world after he beat the Celtics.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
People were giving, like, when you win and you do it in the fashion like Giannis, Steph done it, the Joker, like when you win in that type of fashion, you can get that tag. So
That's
if Tatum
fair.
goes out there, he plays the Clippers hypothetically, and he puts on the 35 ball for the series. You can. I'm not saying it's right, but you will have the ammo to push. He's the best player in the world. Look what he just did. Took Kawhi, PG, James Harden, put on an impressive finals, and then just walked through the East. you just got to put on a performance. People only remember what you just did.
That's fair. That's very true.
What's the next team?
Next one's going to be the Charlotte Hornets.
There we go.
Okay. So I gave him a D+. I gave him a D+ because they have young players that have been playing well. Acquiring Trey Mann's been pretty cool for them. Grant Williams has had a resurgence in a Charlotte Hornets uniform.
Or no.
It's so funny, man. It's just really crazy what happens.
That's my dog.
It's really crazy. I'll leave it at that.
Wait, what's crazy?
No, it's just crazy.
Trey Mann?
No. Trey Mann has been balling. He's been going crazy. It does suck that this has all been without LaMelo because we understand that usage will change a little bit, of course. Brandon Miller being the great player that he is, I think you can look at this young core of players and think, hey, we have something going in the right direction, but it hasn't related and translated to playing winning basketball. The worst defense in basketball, and on top of it, the offense is a little bit too sporadic. 4-game heater right now. You'd like to end the season winning some games, of course, but this is a D+. That's what I gave them. I feel like you can't do anything more than that.
Does any coach hate his team more than Steve Clifford?
Monty
Jock
Williams,
Vaughn?
probably.
But he's gone.
He's gone.
Jock Vaughn is a good answer. Jock Vaughn is a good
I feel
answer.
like you just get clips all the time. Steve Clifford after pressers just basically shit on everyone. To be fair, they're a pretty terrible team.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, what you have to look for in this team, I think, is in two things. Is one, the development of young players, and you've seen that especially with Brandon Miller this season. And then the other is being able to move off assets and getting some pieces back. They moved off Gordon Hayward. They got Trey Mann. They moved off Terry Rozier. Got some draft picks. So that's really the only thing you could judge the Hornets off of, especially because of LaMelo's injury. He's only played 22 games. That's less than half of the season. I think we all expected this team to be pretty bad, and they're still pretty bad. I think the biggest question for them going forward is, what do you do with Miles Bridges? He'd be a free agent, restricted, unrestricted. I'm not sure because they just gave him the qualifying offer, if I remember correctly. So regardless, so I think that's their biggest question is Miles Bridges part of this team going forward?
I think pre-trade deadline Hornets, I'll give him
and
a
PJ
D.
Washington. Moved up PJ Washington too.
Pre-trade deadline, I'll give him a D. Post-trade deadline has been an A. I really loved how
they're undefeated.
Exactly. That's how I'll give him
Fair
an
enough.
A. Trey Mann, I'm glad that he has an opportunity. I've been high on him since college, since he went to Florida, and I really think he's a heck of a player. I just think he had no opportunity in OKC. And, of course, in Charlotte, what was
There's a ghost.
Oh.
There's a ghost.
The black guy dropped his nuts.
So
Can't believe they're doing that to us.
I know LaMelo's going to come back eventually, but Trey Mann as a sixth man, guard off your bench, starting alongside LaMelo, I can see a world where that works. And Grant Williams has been awesome for them. He's been playing really well. He's from Charlotte, so he's playing in his hometown. And there's just some times where you need to change the scenery. There was a report that came out that a lot of his Mavericks teammates didn't like him. So maybe that caused, some uneasy chemistry in the building.
The synergy, man.
And he, in Dallas, got more open threes than he did in Boston. He just didn't hit them. He wasn't as good as he was in Boston. In Dallas, all I know is that Grant Williams wasn't contributing much. But in Charlotte, he's playing much better. And shout out to him. And Brandon Miller's a star. He's a star.
Really good.
He is.
That's why you watch the Hornets, because of Brandon Miller, because he's a star.
Well, also when LaMelo's on the TV.
Well, he's not playing right now, though. So,
Showtime.
I'm tuning in because of Brandon Miller.
Fair enough.
I don't know what to give Charlotte a grade. It's because,
I'll be honest, you cooked.
Grant Williams is not good, man.
Good
I don't know
analysis.
what
Grant
Grant Williams is not a good basketball player.
Excuse me, do you want me to read his last 4 stats? I will happily do it.
You can read it.
He's averaging 20.
But we all know at this
He
table.
is, actually.
We all know at this table it's very easy to go to a bad team and put up some numbers and look better than what you actually are. I'm more moved about what he looked like in Dallas, what he looked like in Boston for a couple years, and what he showed me is sometimes he was good, sometimes he wasn't. So that's the guy I'm going to kind of
Jordan Poole went to a bad team, and what happened?
He isn't good, but when he wasn't on a good team and, he helped win a championship, that's what really matters here.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that what matters?
And we're now pushing AirPods better than Austin Reeves. We got another one.
Really?
Walk with me.
That's what you're going to do?
Walk with me.
Walk with me.
That brother cannot finish at the basket to save his damn life.
And Austin Reeves can't guard.
It's not necessarily true.
Anyways, Charlotte, Trey
What did
Mann.
AirPods do last night?
We won. Who cares?
Okay, got it. That's
What
how
were
we
you
know.
We beat him.
I don't know.
I don't know what he did actually. He hit a
score
brick.
got ugly, I turned it
He
off.
got a brick one time. That's the only thing I remember. I'm also on the Trey Mann wagon. I like Trey Mann coming out of Florida. He was a dog. Like that he gets his opportunity. So I guess I'll give him a C for that in regard and just getting out PJ Washington, who they signed to a 3-year $45 last year. So you get off that contract, I guess. And Yeah, Charlotte gets a C. They didn't. They got off Gordon Hayward, so I guess that was cool. Brought in a young player. You just build around LaMelo and Brandon Miller. Hopefully LaMelo comes back. But Charlotte they're so whatever. It's hard to really think about them at all, to be honest.
Well, C's are whatever grade, so that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Giving them a C is respect.
Sure.
Trey Mann has a Hornet, 14 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, almost 2 steals, shooting 50% from 3. Man. It is 4 games, but hey, undefeated.
The next team we have is the Chicago Bulls.
Here we go, Riv. Talk to me.
D.
That's exactly what I have.
Give him a D. Love the way Kobe White's been playing. Love the way Pat Will's playing. Huh?
Kobe White, my twin?
Nuts. Yeah, Kobe White doesn't have that.
No.
He has more like this.
Nah, OD.
Yeah, he has more of that.
I feel like I'm thinking about when he was in UNC that he had the fro going crazy.
He did.
Yes.
Right? I thought so.
You look like Joel Berry from UNC. Look him up.
Okay.
That's the same hair you have.
I feel like this is going to be rude. I feel like it's going to
I give him a D because Chicago chose to stay pat and try to win and try to, get this team to the playoffs.
Good looking dude.
He's a handsome dude.
No, you cooked.
Yeah, he's a handsome dude.
He's fucking cooked.
Yeah, you had the same style.
The OD.
Chicago didn't move anybody. They had opportunities to move Drummond, get something back, move Caruso, get a lot back.
Folded.
Move DeMar, get something back. They chose to stay pat, try to win, be a play-in team, fine, cool, whatever. But you get a D in this regard. You didn't move anybody. You continue with the same core. And, shout out to Kobe White because that's been the only fun part of this team.
Yeah, you even contemplate giving an F just because of the mindset of the team, but the actual
if
team,
you give F, I don't care.
Yeah, but I mean, at least you're a 19 in the plan, I guess.
Only
so
a
that
few
bumps you
teams
to a
got an F
D.
from me.
But yeah, I have like 2 teams in mind for a legit F. But it's hard to get behind the Bulls. We've been talking about them for years. That the thought process of we're going to keep running this back and keep making the play-in and just make no legitimate noise in the playoffs, but we're just going to keep trying. Makes no sense. The fact that they haven't made a trade in 3 years feels like malpractice.
They got fleeced that bad. They said I'm scared, body.
It feel like if I was a Bulls fan, it would be hard to even follow this team because it feels like there's nothing on the horizon. He doesn't follow this team, and I don't blame him. This team's bad. But like you mentioned, the one bright spot of the season has been Kobe White.
Huh?
No one's saying you don't watch games. You just don't care about it.
Yeah, you don't care about it.
Yeah, I don't care if we
That's
win or
how I
lose.
would feel.
I'm there for Kobe White.
That's how I would feel. But yeah, Kobe White's been the one bright spot on this team, being able to emerge. What's he? This year 3 for him? 4? Kobe.
Might be year 5.
5?
Might be, yeah.
Because I was going to say,
we just got him a steal, 3 years,
He's in the
33.
same draft with DeAndre Hunter.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I was
he
thinking
was
that he was younger.
he
But
had that great clip after getting drafted. I forget who it was that got drafted that he was like, wow, bro, that's love. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Come on.
I don't know.
Definitely
either.
year 5 breakout. This is
Year
a true
5.
MIP.
Yeah, for sure.
This is a real
MIP
MIP
candidate, and at least you have that because the rest of the pieces.
Well, we have him on
are
the steal.
weird.
He's getting paid
Oh,
$11
that
million.
Cam Johnson got drafted to the Suns. That's what it was. He has a video in the
They were
presser.
teammates.
Facts.
Kobe White makes it a D. If not, it'd be an F. If he didn't ascend to what he is ascending to, which was a surprise, that's why he should be the leading MIP
You saw it,
candidate
bro.
right now.
Don't worry.
Even though Tyrese Maxey is number 1 right now,
Yeah.
according to sports.
What about Isaac Okoro,
Last time
bro?
I checked.
He's been, the rebirth has been, that's a real legit, no, I ain't going to speak.
We'll talk to them next, actually. They're the next team up. So, yeah,
Drew
just
slept.
because
It
Kobe
took Jordan
White, they're
Poole
a D.
falling off for Isaac Okoro to really
I had
ascend. And
multiple
honestly, good
agendas.
trade-off.
Some of them,
Good trade-off.
the core was here, man.
I agree.
The Cavaliers, what grade do they get?
We're done with this team, with the Bulls?
Yeah,
Fair enough. I mean, you
What else
said
is there
everything
to
that's
say?
the truth.
We'll agree, D,
Yeah,
F?
D. I gave him a D.
Yeah.
With the Cavaliers, you could argue that they have been the most impressive team in the NBA given circumstance. Garland misses time. Mobley misses time. This is an A+. You have one of the best defenses in basketball. I could talk about the rebounding, but I saw you put up a tweet earlier, so I'll let you go in depth a little bit more on that when you spoke on Joel Moran show. It's the truth. They've been one of the best rebounding teams in basketball and significantly better than last year. But why they've been most impressive is because Donovan Mitchell, when questions were being asked whether or not this was a good move for the Cavaliers to make this type of game-changing trade for Donovan Mitchell and giving up the future assets that they did. I sat here and I questioned it because it has hindered the development of Darius Garland because you're taking the ball out of his hands because Donovan's the better player. But he has shown that he is good enough to carry a team to being one of the best teams in the East. And for them to be the number 2 seed for a majority of this season while missing Garland and Mobley for a good portion of that, I give them an A+, most definitely.
Yeah, they're an A for me. Second seed in the East right now, dealt with a ton of injuries, as we know. But I still think this team ultimately is going to be testing the playoffs. If you look at Their 20-2 stretch, they've been phenomenal against teams under 500. One of the best in the league. They only have 2 or 3 losses. Against teams over 500, they're I think 11-13 last I saw. Maybe they're 12-13 now.
Yep.
But they just lost the Magic last night. Didn't have Donovan Mitchell, to be fair. So it's tough because they're an A right now and they deserve an A 100%. But if they go out and lose in the first round, it still wouldn't shock me. I'm not 100% bought into this Cleveland Cavaliers team. I need to see them beat up on some better competition right now because there was a lot of Washington and Detroit. They had the Spurs in there during that stretch. But the way Donovan Mitchell is playing should give you hope. You just got to hope that in the playoffs, he's able to keep this up and, of course, have everyone healthy. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, that big 4. And then they've gotten some good production off the bench, too. Karis LeVert's been really solid. Sam Merrill, was he second-round pick or undrafted?
I think he was undrafted. He's been traveling. He was with the Kings at some point.
Yeah,
he's
been
with
Dean Wade's been playing.
Yeah, like an
well
undrafted player they were able to snag and been a key rotational part for them as well. For what they've done so far, they get an A, but this isn't like the final grade for them. This is a midseason grade.
This is an A+. They're playing some great basketball. They've exceeded expectations. And they also get an A+ for having some of the best jerseys in the NBA.
They do.
I think their City Edition jerseys, the land ones,
Yep.
they're the best ones in the league. There's not one that I like more than those. They're the best.
Miss being a
So
Cavs fan.
the Cavaliers definitely onto something. I fear them as a Knicks fan.
You should.
I do. Last year we beat them. I went into that series thinking we would win. I thought there were some things we could expose. This year I don't see those same things. This is not like when the Knicks lost to the Hawks in 2021, and I knew the Hawks ain't to be respected. They're fluky. The Cavaliers is to be respected,
y'all, though.
even though we beat the Cavs. I mean, they did, but
They
it was a
beat y'all
fluke run. It was a fluke run.
They beat y'all just like how y'all beat the Cavs.
I know, but
Like, pretty similarly.
It just goes to show the respect level I have for the Cavs and the lack of respect I have for the Hawks. And we see 3 years later,
right.
the Hawks, they've fallen off. The Cavaliers, I fear them. Yeah. And I don't think it's signed and sealed that if the Knicks and Cavs meet again, the Knicks will win that series again. I think a lot of Knicks fans are very overconfident that we would just beat them, and I'm not one of those. I'm not. This team has some serious potential. You guys know, I'm out on the Bucks. The Bucks are done. I'm out on them. Top 3 in the East is the Celtics, Cavs, and Knicks. 2 and 3 interchangeable. That's the top 3 in the East, though.
Okay. Not too against that, honestly.
Okay, Joel, you said a lot. I give him an A. I think everybody said some good points. I think Dehls has, if he has the right to
I have the most question at the table, it sounds like.
He has a right to, have a little step back because of what happened last year in the playoffs and in the competition they have played, because it has been a milky schedule. But at the same time, people writ them off with that milky schedule. People decided.
Thanks for doubling down on that.
People decided that these people were not. Like this team was not going to be good even with the injuries. And then they went out and won these games, and now it's I need to see you play better competition. So I don't know. And then based off last year, like they've gotten better. Everything they needed to improve on, they've gotten better at. 3-point shooting, spacing, defensive communication, on the boards. JB Bickerstaff just as a coach, the team just bonding together and being more in sync. Like they've gotten better in every facet. I am also scared of the Knicks if I'm a Cavs fan because, that is a one team that did whip your ass. They have your heart. So you got to go in there. I do think if they run it back into 6-7 series either way, but I think you give this team an A because they've dealt with some adversity. Donovan Mitchell has managed to improve his game in this season. Mobley coming back, he's improved his game. The one key is going to be Darius Garland. If he can get back, because he's been dealing with a bunch of injuries and not playing well, not being as aggressive as you want him to be.
I saw you tweet. Are you feeling concerned?
A little bit. I don't think people and here's the thing. I don't think Donovan Mitchell hindered Darius Garland. I just don't think they've had enough time to play together. Because I think last year, Darius Garland had a great season last year. He had a great season last year.
Especially playing alongside Donovan Mitchell with the numbers he put up.
Yeah,
it was impressive.
He had a great season last year. He went to the playoffs. He was the only one that got them a W. So, and then this year, you started the year, you've messed up. Now you've gotten like 3 to 4 face injuries. So that kind of sets you back in trying to go to the rim and be all aggressive. But I think you have this second half to kind of get better, to kind of, get your game back. You go into the playoffs. If Darius Garland doesn't play well, this team could very well be a first-round exit because Donovan Mitchell cannot do it alone against a team like the Knicks or the Bucks. So, but I give him an A.
Shout out Isaac Okoro. I was waiting for you to give him some love, shooting nearly 40% from 3.
I want to wait. I want to wait because if he doesn't do it in the playoffs, I'll be fucking
But
aggravated.
listen, the fact that he's doing this for this sample size already is
that's
huge.
Bro,
no, he's been an all league defender.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
But
that
he's
was always
always
this year.
been-
He
yeah,
couldn't
he's
shoot.
always-
Last year he would be in the starting lineup because he could defend.
I think
and then
I'm
just
more
leave him
impressed
alone.
with the fact that he's now breaking dudes down off the dribble. He's now getting to the rim. Like he's beating dudes off the bounce. He's being more aggressive. He's more confident.
having a couple of these
overall pick,
injuries,
man.
giving him a
Like,
bit
some
of a bigger
dudes
role.
sleep at the table, and like you guys right here. That's why y'all know ball because other dudes at this table sleep. Man.
I given
and
her
when they
his
slept
knowledge.
on,
There's no
when
way.
they slept on
There's no
Isaac,
way I'm
man,
going to take on Isaac Core.
when they slept on Isaac, man, he wasn't good. Now look,
I'm with
now.
you, Rib. I've been
No.
telling you about Isaac Core.
When
bro.
they so did you hear what he just said?
He's here.
When they slept on Isaac Okoro, he wasn't good.
He was good.
So
shit.
that's the truth. Duh. This
Now
season
look at
he's
him.
been significantly better in a role
but
off
Rib
the
never
bench.
wavered.
You know, listen,
Never
Riv,
wavered's wrong. He admitted that he didn't play good, but he wanted him to
I
play
wavered
well.
from Isaac.
Listen, Riv, I want to back you up on this
Thank you, bro.
because there are times when
What the hell's gonna happen?
you have
here?
to stick with something because you see how it's gonna play out.
It's a fact.
I felt that.
The Cavaliers are one of the hottest teams in the league. Isaac Okoro is playing well.
He is.
That's my brother.
But on the
Christ.
other side, the Dallas Mavericks are one of the hottest teams in the league.
Oh, here we go.
They are.
And in order to
Oh,
see
no,
what
They is not. They are
in
not.
order to see what they've been doing, you had to see the vision. You had to be like, oh wait, you know what, Drew? I'll take you up on a top 6 seed in the Western Conference bet because I believe in Luka.
he think he
Doncic.
washed you, by the way.
No, he
Didn't
thinks
know
so.
that.
He really does think that.
He's locked in.
Because they
'Cause
just
I know what's
sipped into
happening.
the 6th seed for the first time, and it's fucking
Oh yeah,
February.
because look at the injuries they've had, Mr. Drew.
That's the
had a
truth.
lot of
They
injuries.
have.
had a
Whenever,
ton.
you know, I noticed something. Whenever it came to the Lakers, all Drew would mention is the injuries to the
We
role
know how he
players.
gets with the Lakers.
But then with the
Gabe
Mavericks,
Vincent changed the season for the Lakers.
I fucking hate that guy, man.
every time we would talk about the Mavericks, it would be, the Mavericks ain't looking good. He wouldn't tell me Lively was out, Joel. It's going to be all right. Kyrie was out, Joel. It's going to be all right.
He's not going to do this to me because all I've done is acknowledge what likely means to the team. Don't do that.
So, you know what, man? I'm giving this team an A.
Okay.
They're an A.
I'm not against it.
Luka is the MVP of the league.
He might be.
With all respect to SGA, what he's doing with OKC, Nikola Jokic always got to be in the conversation. Luka Doncic is carrying.
His numbers are stupid.
He is the MVP. If he was not on the Mavs right now, or if he was missing as much games as Kyrie, whatever you want to say, because he's been carrying his team without Kyrie, the Mavericks are having a top 10 pick in the draft right now. It might be even worse. He is the heart and soul of this team. And the way I saw them play against Phoenix last night, the firepower they have with Kyrie Irving, I know the numbers for Grant Williams might look better than PJ Washington. But PJ Washington, he's locked in as a defender with Dallas. He's playing some good defense. And,
He tried to kill KD last night.
you know, I've been killing 2 birds with 1 stone recently. I've been trying to be smart with my body and try to work out while I watch basketball games.
Like that.
Okay.
So
you're on the
I've been,
treadie?
I've been on the treadmill. I've been walking. I was watching the Dallas Mavericks game, and I seen 2 plays back to back with Daniel Gafford. He blocked Devin Booker, and then he had a hard foul on Devin Booker. And it's that
center.
type of rim protector that you need to kind of remove the psyche of an offensive player that I don't really want to attack the basket like this. And what Daniel Gafford is going to mean to this team, man,
He's the
To
Tyson
be
Chandler
fair,
of the Dallas
the
Mavericks.
Suns don't really go to the basket anyways, but I
they
get you.
don't. But I
Midi.
think Daniel Gafford is one of the better rim protectors in the league.
So who do you trust more, your Suns or your Mavericks?
The Mavericks 100%. The Mavericks 100%. They're my number 1 dark horse in the West. Number 2, right behind them, will be the Suns. But the
Suns dark horse
Mavericks,
is crazy.
for staying afloat, they get an A+.
A+.
If Kyrie has played 10 more games, this is a top 4 seed in the West easy. This is easily. Easily.
Do you
How
know
many
the
games did
gap
Kyrie
between
miss?
4 and 5?
What's the gap?
I think it's like 4 games.
That's not that much. With Kyrie, they go 6
They
and
could have
0.
lost those
They
games
run the
too, though.
table.
How many games does Kyrie miss?
What are the games
He's missed 22, I believe.
22.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. That's not a terrible.
When Kyrie and Luka play this season, they're 19 and 10. The win percentage is above 600.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, it would be tied or a little bit above because the Clippers just lost yesterday to the Clippers win percentage for the season.
If they
What
all
percent was
play.
it at?
When Kyrie and Luka play.
What percent was it?
19 and 10. It's a let me do the math
10
on
divided
this.
by what is it?
It's 19 divided by 29 because it's 29 total games.
we go,
So
first
19 divided by 29. They have a 65 win percentage. with
65.
Kyrie
That
and
would put
Luka.
them in 5th place in the in the West right now.
The Clippers are what, 65 as well, right?
They're closer to 67. The Nuggets are at 66, and then the Pelicans are at 61.
But you understand that, though.
Good, yeah.
Kyrie and Luka,
it's really good.
They're amazing.
They're similar to the Clippers, and how do we look at the Clippers? We look at them as a contender in the West.
I think they're
in terms of win percentage. I'm just saying.
Now, do you remember the Clippers were like 23-3 from December to now?
No, they were awesome for sure.
I'd have them probably. This is probably like a B+, A- right now, just because of all of the injuries they've had. You know, it's the fact that they're the 6th seed, which you were locked into a playoff spot over teams like the Lakers, who haven't had as big of injuries. The Warriors with Draymond being out, sure. Twice, yeah, but at least like not a massive Curry injury that he's missing 20+ games.
Curry's thank God.
Yeah, and even Phoenix too, who's had injuries to all these different players, but it feels like for the most part they've at least had 2 of their guys for majority of stretches during the season. And since the trade deadline, they've been one of the better teams in the NBA. They're 8-2 in their last 10. As you mentioned, Joel, they're on a 7-game win streak now. Just kind of handled the Suns last night. First half it was close. Second half Dallas was able to break away with that game, and
nothing new.
The way you see Kyrie and Luka being able to play with each other and play off of each other. Kyrie playing more of a 2, which I know you've been saying for years. That's what he is, a 2, and Luka being, of course, the main distributor, playmaker of this team, and he's playing at an MVP level. He's been undoubtedly been a top 3 player, top 4 at worst in the NBA this year. I think he has every right to deserve the MVP, right up there with guys like Nikola Jokic and SGA. Even though he is 6 games behind those dudes, the injuries that they've sustained to their team, it doesn't even compare to the ones that the Nuggets, who really nothing serious, especially to a guy like the Joker or the Thunder, who really haven't dealt with any key injuries either. So still have to go forward. There's still a ton of good teams in the West, but in terms of dark horses, because it's hard for me to have the Suns as dark horses. I mentioned that in the Discord. When you have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, it's either you're a contender or there's something wrong with your team. The Mavericks, though, I think are in that dark horse section. That's where I would have them to.
Adversity is the biggest thing right now for the MVP conversations, and Luka has one of the biggest adversity stories. I mean, his team has been battered, beaten up with injuries, missing Kyrie, missing key role players, and he's put the team on his back. He's essentially been the best player in the league this year. So I don't mind if they give him the MVP. You know, even if they get to 5th, 6th seed, you know, his team, he has been doing a shit ton for this team. I'm with you, Dehls. B+, A. Like, I give him that. The way they've battled even with these injuries, you know, they picked up some nice pieces at the deadline. You know, they were able to bring in Gafford, bring in PJ Washington to shore up that front court, you know, give Lively some help. And now they've been hooping. So Dallas being a dark horse, I like it. You know, Dallas is your typical team that can definitely sneak in, knock out a top team, get to the WCF. For sure. So, you know, Joel gave me 2 weeks to assess and decide if I'm on the Dallas bandwagon. I'm 50-50 right now.
He gets that pass.
I'm not a Dallas hater.
Whatever.
I'm not.
I'm definitely a Dallas hater. Not a
you
Luka
and Dehls
hater,
are 100%.
but a Dallas hater.
Yeah, so I'm not a Dallas hater.
Man, I'm not deaf. Early in the show, we talk about the Hornets. You look to Dehls and say, we're going to have to start having conversations.
What
Dehls.
about Grant Will? That's it.
What does that mean, Riff?
No. He throws that little. He threw that joke for you. I was upstairs.
He threw the little jab.
Bro, what? All I was saying, credit to Grant Will. Maybe we have some conversations. Listen, Dallas Mavericks, B+. They have gone through a lot and still been able to stay more than afloat. Having this winning record, being a top 11 offense, which is one thing, especially with injuries. Understanding that Luka has been arguably the best offensive player in the game. You're still missing your co-star in Kyrie Irving in a good amount of games this season. But, of course, we understand his impact when he's on the court, when he has the ball in his hands. He's able to do special things in his own right. But the efficiency that Luka Doncic has been playing at this season has been flat out dumb. For him to improve this much as a three-point shooter on the volume that he is taking them at is really what's been impressing me the most. We know that he's an elite passer. We know that he's an elite scorer. The defense will always be in question, but at least he's been able to hold his own in terms of just doing his role on the defensive side of the ball. But when they made moves at the trade deadline, my big statement was that Daniel Gafford was the home run pick for them because they needed some help on the interior. They, at the time, I believe, were a bottom 4 defense in terms of points allowed in the paint, but now they started to clean that up. Or right now, I think they ranked 22nd already in terms of speaking after the trade deadline. Daniel Gafford, I'm glad that you highlighted him and what he did versus the Suns because that's what they needed. They needed that enforcer. You add that on top of Derek Lively too. There's not many teams that have the depth at the big position. To have 2 of those guys of that type of
they're probably the most athletic center two centers.
I agree. Because Derek Lively, good rim runner, and same with Gafford, no doubt about it. But they've been cooking, and they've been playing some solid basketball. They get a B+ from me.
The Denver Nuggets, I don't know if we got to go too in depth on them.
I'll be honest, I did not give them an A.
Give them a B+.
I think they've been a little underwhelming on the offensive side of the ball.
The bench is not good.
That's really what it is. And they're not a good 3-point shooting team.
No.
They're not, but I feel like why I have to be hesitant on this is because we know
they're coasting.
They have That's exactly what I have. This is a team that is great, but knows that they're not playing for the regular season. They're playing for the playoffs. They have a bunch of playoff risers, which is why I feel like I can't be too stern. I gave them a B+, but the way that they're playing right now is not one that would make me feel comfortable if I'm a Denver Nuggets fan, because this depth is not what it was last year.
Yeah, these next 20-something games are going to show a lot about Denver. I think we all have them as championship contenders,
For sure.
and I think we all think they'll get a top 4 seed. It's just I would much rather you are the 1 or 2 seed than the 3 or 4, so you get that extra home game in the playoffs when you eventually have to go up against a Wolves, a Thunder, a Clippers in the Western Conference Finals, because we know how great they could be. They could be they could be at home. But like you guys mentioned, when you just win a title, Jokic has stamped himself MVP, champion. I give you a little bit of a pass to still being fourth in the West, 37-19. You're still a tremendous team. The depth, the bench depth, I get, is a question, but we know once the playoffs come around, when it really matters, you're really just going to go 7 deep or so. And as long as you have Jokic out there playing damn near 40 minutes a night, he's going to be the best player on the court in basically every series. So I'd have them probably as like a B+, A- just because we have to talk about regular season, but they're still, top dogs in the West to me.
I'm really glad they won a championship last year. I think it took a lot of pressure off of Jokic. It got the monkey off his back, and I feel like a player as great as him, he deserved that type of moment. Now, moving forward, I think we might be giving Denver too much of a pass because we've seen it already. Jamal Murray, it's just a fact. What he is in the playoffs, he's not in the regular season.
And honestly, I think that's okay.
No, it is okay. He's a playoff riser. But I think the closest thing I'm always going to look at when it comes to the Denver Nuggets, even though I believe in Jamal Murray, is if Jamal Murray will ever come back down to earth when he does reach the postseason. Because to this point, he's always elevated, and I think that's the expectation. But if this team doesn't go as far as I think a lot of people pick them to go, it'll be because of that reason.
I think that holds him back a little bit. I think if you are, and I think that's essentially the same way I think about Jimmy Butler in the Heat. You coast throughout the regular season, understandable. So now your team loses a little bit more game. It's a little different.
They're doing a different version of coasting.
No, of course, it's a little different. But I mean, either way, Miami gets to the finals of the ECF regardless. Yeah. So they always get to around the same level. But for the Nuggets, Jamal kind of coasts, chills through the regular season. Then he ups his level. Now you're going into series where you possibly might not be. You might start on the road. You might face tougher matchups. Like, why not raise your level in the regular season? And then how much are you willing to pay a guy who rises in the playoffs but doesn't play the same level in the regular season? How much are you willing to put that money on that type of player? That's also another thing you got to start thinking about too, because Jamal's supposed to be getting paid too.
Definitely.
So how much are you willing to give a guy who's gonna play, like, I guess, a low-end all-star in the regular season and then play like a superstar in the playoffs, But this team...
Still think he gets at least 40, though.
Yeah, he might.
Because Van
the
Vliet
market
got crazy money.
The market's definitely going up. Van Vliet money is a little weird, though, because they don't have too much dedication towards his contract.
I understand.
And they just paid him because they needed to pay people.
Get the money.
But at the same time, I do think Denver... I know their fans wanted them to get somebody in the buyout market, wanted them to just bolster the bench up a little bit, at least for this regular season type of vibe, where you need regular season teams who have a good 8-9 road. They typically do well in the regular season. They put themselves in nice company for the playoffs. But I think Denver, you still trust that 6-7 man rotation. It's just now Minnesota's going to be healthy for the playoffs, hopefully. Now you got the Clippers retooled up. Now you got OKC, who they may not be just as good as you, but they're a dangerous loomer. Now you got Dallas. They got some big man depth. There's more teams than there were last year that we talked about. Phoenix is still right there. And you might play Phoenix in the first round. So that's not an easy, not an easy challenge. So, But Denver, B+. They're still one of the best teams.
I still would take both of them. I would still take them over both of those teams.
It's not as easy, though, I would say.
No, Dallas, you got to give respect. You have to give respect to the Phoenix Suns, the only team to beat them twice in a playoff series last year. But at the end of the day, you understand that come playoff time.
I think Phoenix is better than what they were last year.
As good as Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford are defensively, Jokic will still get his.
I think, but...
And Jamal Murray will be essential in that series, and he'll still be great.
How much better is Denver from last year? Because I think Phoenix
They're
got
not.
significantly better from last year.
Denver got a bit worse.
Yeah, so and I think that matchup went 6 because Phoenix did not have the proper players out there. You know, they didn't have the shooting. It was easy to defend them. With
And
them
there was
now,
no big that could
the
fuck
way
with
they
Jokic.
no big still, but the way they have their team now with shooters around, you know, they just picked up Royce O'Neal. Now you have another ball
That
handler.
fourth quarter, it's
No,
terrible.
it's been, but once again, like Dehls always says, you trust Kevin Durant and Devin Booker to figure it out in the fourth.
You do, but bro, it's been almost
There's a pretty big sample size. of them being a
3/4 of a
terrible
season.
for sure.
and
No, it's
fourth
dog
quarter
shit,
team.
you know. And
two of the top 5 scores in the league.
sometimes
and you can't score in the fourth.
you just give the guys a little bit of a pass to just flick it on
get it.
in the playoffs, you know, so just turn the switch on. So, you know, maybe Phoenix is that team.
So
for
what'd you
sure.
give the Nuggets?
B+.
B plus. I'm cool with that.
I'll give them a similar grade. The Detroit Pistons, I mean,
We
it's
can
the
walk
worst
through
team in
this.
the league.
It's an F.
I have
It's an
yikes, F. That's it.
Cade is great.
It's an F.
You know, he had a great game the other day.
Something
Lost
you
by 20.
want to
Yeah, he had
you want to say
30
about
ball, right?
Marcus Sasser or anybody, Riv?
I'm good. I haven't watched
Jaden
a
Ivey?
Piston game in a while.
I was gonna say that they have 4 players that make you excited for their young core, or let me not say excited, but at least want to be a part, or that fans want to be a part of their young core. Cade, Ivy, Asar, and Duran. But with Monty, how can you have much?
I don't even know if I'm
confidence in them at
excited
all?
for Ivy. Monty's the coach.
I agree wholeheartedly. You cannot feel, or your excitement on that
Or
core
Asar,
should be
honestly.
limited because Monty Williams is the head coach, because he lacks the ability to make adjustments with his players that he has.
He doesn't know his players' ability.
Correct.
Which means he does not know where to put them on the court. He does not know where to play. He's putting Asar in a corner. He can't shoot. He has shown you he cannot shoot. He's not ready for that. Put him in a dunker spot. He's a great offensive rebounder. Put him somewhere around the damn rim. He's not going to miss the layups.
Yep.
He's just going to dunk over you. Monty's a weird character. Don't think he makes it past the summer. But yeah, we'll
It's a
move past
lot
this.
of money.
It's F.
It's a lot of money.
It's an F.
This team sucks.
Yeah, it's
It's
an
an F.
Hate that for them. They used to be so
At least
great.
they moved off Bogdanovich. Should have done it last year, or maybe
They picked up the guy. I don't know say his name from Utah. He's been a good pickup for them. You know,
Yeah.
he's been solid for them.
Okay.
The Golden State Warriors are next, Riv. I think a corner might have been turned.
Listen,
I mean, we knew they were better than Lakers, right? You know, I think even if they had LeBron, Warriors still win. But
Do you still actually believe that?
I think it becomes a great
I
another OT game.
I still believe in the Warriors more than Lakers. Yes,
We always played them great.
Double overtime game, the 39-year-old overcame. Really?
Wait, what?
I still trust the Warriors.
And the team that
Steph and CTE
really
players.
trust that.
Remember that.
that's on him. Sorry.
It's not on him.
What would you give them on the season so far, Riv?
Ooh, this one's a difficult grade because I think. I give him a C. You
I
got to
gave
give
him
him
a C plus.
I wouldn't give them that because they've blown so many fourth quarter leads and they've had the most clutch games. You know, they've choked a shit ton of
They have.
games. They've
You do
had
have
a
the
lot
best
of.
clutch player in the league, though.
They have a lot of CTE moments, and it's been Steph too. But you know, Steph hasn't been the main problem. You know, you've had faults from Clay, Kerr,
Wiggins.
Draymond, Wiggins, but they've all been playing good as of late.
Agreed.
So I think C is cool. You know, I do think this team, if they, I looked at their next couple games, they got Hornets, Denver, Wizards, Knicks, Raptors, Celtics. So
Food.
There's like 4 or 5 winnable games.
if you go 5-2, whatever it is, 4-2, I'll be moved because I looked at the standings. You're 4 games back from 6th seed.
Are you
but
counting that
haven't-
as a Celtics win, by the way? Because you won us.
No, fuck no. If we were home, yes.
I wouldn't call you crazy.
We're not home, so we'll win that. You'll lose that. We'll lose that.
Yeah.
If we were home, though, we were playing. You guys beat you guys. But yeah, no, I think you're 4 games back. You still have to catch up with the games played. You haven't played the same amount of games as everybody else. You're not far off from the teams that are in front of you. You're half game back from the Lakers. You're turning the corner. Draymond at the center has been beautiful. Him, Kuminga, Wiggins have been great. Clay come off the bench. He stunk it up last night. But AirPods is good. You got some guy, Trace Davis is getting run. He's good. So Kerr's starting to figure out my young player's actually good. So now that he's starting to figure that out, you see a nice little resurgence with this team. So I'll give him a C+.
Let me ask you, do you classify Dre as your big? Like, is he your big?
He's always been a big, but I hate that he's a center for the majority of the season. That puts a lot of toll on his body.
Because the way I
6'7".
way I evaluated, no, I know, trust me. The way I evaluated the Warriors, kind of how you evaluated the Hornets, but in the aspect of post Draymond Green coming back from suspension.
Yes.
Because when you guys,
A- then.
when you finally got him back from that point, no, I averaged the two.
Okay, sorry.
I averaged the
I'll say
two
from that point, A-.
But you look at from when he returned from the suspension, you guys were 18-21. Since then, you guys have been 10-5. You guys now have a winning record. So the way I look at it is your defense has been lagging behind your offense, which has been a top 7 unit in the NBA. But the defense has been bad in due part to also Draymond Green not being on the court. You expect that to improve as the season goes on. But really a big part to your guys' ascension recently has been the young guys. You look at Kuminga, AirPods, Trace Jackson-Davis coming off the bench. We saw it last night.
GP came back,
too.
He
dominated. Yep. He dominated the matchup versus the Lakers. A lot of that was when AD wasn't on the court, but that's what you can do. Yeah. Also, AD lost his voice. Did you hear that?
No, that was hilarious.
Doc Rivers level excuse. That was a funny tweet I saw. But he might not play tonight because of it, which is kind of whack.
Might have been serious.
No, for sure. But you have to respect what's going on with the Warriors because they have also been going through some adversity. But it's been weird because, well, also they did deal with losing one of their assistant coaches, which obviously definitely can hamper the momentum of a team. But they've seemingly bounced back from that very well and really come together as a team. But I think it was Kuminga putting pressure on Steve Kerr that's really kind of woke him up a little bit. And now he trusts the young guys to the point where Klay Thompson, for the first time since his rookie year, is coming off the bench. And AirPods, although he's not this great finisher at the rim, he has pretty high IQ, can defend, is a really good rebounder, and he can shoot the basketball, which fits the mold of a Golden State Warrior player, a role player. So I give them a C+. I could be convinced on a B- for the fact of this team is only going to get better, and I feel like they're the team that's the most volatile.
Even in that 10-5, though, I'm still not satisfied. We choked
There's
against
some
the
bad
Clippers.
losses.
I mean, we still, the fourth quarter woes.
Really good win versus the Suns.
For sure.
So you give and take there. You smoked the Lakers.
No.
You lost you lost to the Lakers in a great game. Like
we fumbled. We made some bad.
Sort of, kind of. I just think that at the end of the day, you just ran out of steam in the second OT, and the Lakers are
could have won it before then. Draymond foul fucked it up late.
That's true.
We had a turnover.
You did get bailed out with Draymond setting the illegal screen on Vanderbilt.
You had a Klay turnover. Like, it's just a lot of shit that just.
I'm glad that he let us out on that.
Yeah, that
but it was
foul.
Yeah,
I'm with you. They just didn't call it. As long as they don't call it, I'm good.
If I'm rounding the two grades, pre-Draymond and with Draymond antics and stuff, that was a D team.
I was gonna say F. You could argue
that was a D team. Post Draymond, since he's come back, this has been an A team. They've been playing amazing. So if I were to average it, I think they get a solid B. I feel like I want to count the Warriors out because I don't have much faith in them beating the top teams in the West. But at the same time, I feel like how can I count the Warriors out? Because they're always a Steph Curry run away from beating a team. You know, Game 7 versus the Kings, Steph Curry dropping 50. What it was? It was 50, right?
Yes,
Game
50.
7?
Second most ever in a Game 7.
Oh, yes.
And then Jason Tatum was number one.
Oh, the one, the series you were cheering about.
Oh, yeah.
Thought
You're
you
right.
won.
Hey, I was pretty close.
I was pretty close. I respect that.
Nah, dropping an Ether video up 2-0 before the
At home.
season. Nah, I'll be really honest. That's one of the nastiest things ever done.
Like at some
It
point,
backfired
you know,
so bad.
you got to win battles. You
Like
might
I
lose the
actually
war, you got to win
was
battles.
happy the Warriors won.
You'd
after
rather take that victory up 2-0 than not saying nothing and not having that video out there.
So I'd rather have
No,
the
that
Kings win the
video's an
series.
L.
I'd rather have the Kings.
I don't care how many
you won
likes
that battle. You won
I
that
don't
battle.
care how many
And
likes
he went
that.
out with the 50 ball to end it. Like, that's,
And listen, it all depends, man. It all depends
I really
what
did
the
like,
eyeballs are on the most.
like that tweet
Guys
did
sell
well
out.
numbers wise, but I'll
no,
be
it
honest,
cooked.
it's even more of an L that's
It
the
was
case.
so funny how it cooked because then the fan base jumped on me and I'm just like,
yeah.
dude,
King's
it's,
Twitter
like,
was going
this shit
crazy,
ain't over yet.
bro.
And then
Oh
we
my
won
God.
2 straight and now they're just like mute. It's like, all right.
Now, you guys winning Game 6 in Sacramento is one of the most
Game 5.
surprising. No,
No, Game 6, you're right.
Game 6.
No, Game 5.
Oh, you're right. Game
Yeah,
5.
yeah,
Yes,
Game
yes,
5, Game
yes,
5.
Without
yes.
Dre.
Game 6, we got smoked.
Then you lost Game
Yeah, we got
6. That's what it
smoked,
was.
yes.
100%.
I was devastated when we lost game.
Because you
I thought
went
it was
up
over.
3-2, right?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Game 6
We got
in
smoked.
and Chase, excuse me.
Just destroyed us.
Sometimes you got to win your battles.
What a good series
Then
that
Steph had
was.
the speech. He was like, "Yo, you getting on this bus?" he had the speech. We're not losing this game. Listen,
Bro, what a
man.
good series that was.
It was the best series of the playoffs last
It
year.
was.
Yeah.
You can argue. It was the best
It
one.
was great.
Oh, man. Good times. Good times.
I'd have this as probably B-, C+. It's been tough, like you guys mentioned, without Draymond Green, with Draymond Green, it's two different teams. But I think why I probably lean B- is I think Steve Kerr's starting to figure it out. I think he's starting to realize what lineups work, what don't, and also to Klay Thompson realizing at this point, let's come off the bench, let Brandon start. One great game, one not so great game. Still ended up being the Lakers without LeBron. The Warriors, though, are great against teams below 500. They're 16-3. They're 12-23 against teams above 500. You're 12-23 against the better teams in the NBA. That's why I don't have real faith in them to win a
Guess what-
championship
which
to
one of
go
them
to the
12 wins are?
WCF was against the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, it shouldn't even count because you guys just have us. We're just in
That's your
our
fault.
own head against you guys. But
Shouldn't count. That's some of the softest shit I've ever
No,
heard.
He's
I'm
coping.
saying,
He's coping.
I'm saying like you guys should just fucking figure you're gonna beat us because we can't seem to beat you guys ever.
Okay.
Tatum had a
More
stinker
than,
that
that's
day.
more than anything. I'm not trying to take it away from them. I'm just saying they own us.
What'd you say about it?
Tatum had a stinker that day.
Yeah, but 12 and 23
He
against
sees
teams
ghosts
above
against him.
500, 16 and 3 against teams below 500, including 1-4 in overtime.
A lot of that was without Dre, though.
That's fair, but beat some competition.
We're trying. We have Bucks coming up. We have the Knicks. We have the
Yeah, the
Denver. We
Celtics.
beat Denver on Sunday. I'm moved.
I moved this shit.
I moved this shit because we should have beat him before and we choked. Joker hit the half court three. I hate him so much.
That was a terrible choke.
Yeah.
That was
that was
fire.
one of them chokes. Like it was a bad choke. But we have Denver on Sunday. We got your boys tonight, Hornets.
Yep.
So
Your boy's crazy.
I'm fine with that. Shout out to LaMelo.
Yeah,
Yep, I hope he plays tonight.
we got the Knicks. The Knicks in the Garden is tough. I'll be there.
You'll be there.
I will fucking be there. So I'll let you know how that shit goes. So I'll either be devastated or excited.
That's gonna be fucking awesome. Is that your first time seeing Steph?
Yes.
That's crazy. In the Garden is
It's the
awesome.
first time I will ever see Steph live.
I've
MSG is great to be
Yeah,
at
so
too.
don't be surprised if you hear the news.
that.
A
leave
man
it
come
there.
all over.
Okay.
Yeah,
I knew it was coming. I just knew something
don't be surprised because I'm gonna be in there.
disgusting was about to come out of that mouth.
I'm gonna
of
be
his.
in there crying, real tears.
That's
bro.
lit. That's
Yeah.
how I felt with LeBron.
You
I
gotta
was
cry
fucking-
now.
I might.
I was tearing up when I got lucky. Let me not say some shit because what I did was illegal. Well, I'll say it anyways. I was supposed to sit in the 300s for my first time ever seeing LeBron in Wells. This is the game that he passed Kobe Bryant for third all time. So instead of sitting in the 300s, we got there like an hour early. So we're just sitting at half court on the first section.
Oh wow.
These are $5,000 seats. We paid around $3 for ours because it was a big moment. LeBron was about to be third all time. Bro, we saw him pass. We sat there up until the fourth quarter, and then the people who the seats belonged to came at the start
insane.
of the
Wow.
fourth.
People do that.
I wasn't even mad.
You guys saw the whole
I
game,
wasn't
basically.
even mad. I saw LeBron. I saw AD. That's when we were amazing. That's when right before the COVID shutdown, of course, the day before Kobe Bryant sadly passed away. But that was the first time I saw LeBron at $5,000 seats that I paid $300 for. So that was a movie.
Yeah, we're lit, man. Frank.
That's gonna be crazy.
Frank was
I'm
just
excited
like, Yo,
for
you. Go to this Warriors game? I was like, fuck yeah, hell yeah, we out.
Oh, dude. The thing about the Garden that's kind of bittersweet though, like it's a great ambiance, but bro, they're way overpriced.
It's the Garden. It's New
100%.
York.
It's the Garden.
They
yeah.
should
Mad
not be
expensive.
that expensive.
It's so damn, but they sell out all the time.
Of course, they're the best
Especially
chance
now.
in the
I
world.
feel like it's like a celebrity. It's just a celebrity arena. Like
You know what? I think De'Aaron Fox said this, that the worst place to play in is MSG. That it's not that good of an arena. That it's just outdated. And honestly, it's
Makes
not
sense.
too far off. Like if you sit in the 200s, like that upper what is that called up top? Like awnings. I feel like I'm blanking on the whatever it's called, but the drop is just so.
no, you have to watch the TV.
It's steep.
Yeah, it
It's
really
steep.
it's a
Scary
steep
as
drop,
shit.
but on top of it, it's like the banner. The walkways. Excuse me, the walkways up top are so low hanging that it's kind of in your way if you are up top. So even if you're paying $300 to sit in heaven, your view is kind of being obstructed
You gotta watch
because
the
of the
big-ass TV.
walkways.
You don't wanna
you
watch
are
that.
watching the
Yeah,
screen
I'd
more than
rather
that.
be home
Then
for
what's
that.
the point?
Yeah, what you're saying is that if you're not getting 100 level seats, the experience is not good.
I
Yes,
think we're
exactly.
at 200 level seats. if I'm
Which
not
is
mistaken.
essentially what I'm unfortunately saying you're probably going to see.
Oh no, we are going to sneak down. I'm
Okay.
telling you this now.
All
I will
right.
get down there.
I hope
no
so.
matter what.
I'm praying for you.
I'm gonna get down there.
All right, lit.
Trust me. Frank better get the moving. 'Cause I will leave him.
All right.
I'm gonna get down
I think he'll be with it.
he better be.
right.
Steph.
This next team we're going to talk about is a team that I will be using in the Pick a Side 2K League.
Yes,
We all have joined the league by now. The draft is starting Sunday.
it is.
I never.
That's a fucking you
I don't
guys
know.
question.
You know, I'm down
I
for
have a
whenever.
brunch at 3:30. So maybe before I get if I get drunk, I'm gonna pick some nonsense.
What do you mean it's 2K? You know
1 o'clock.
basketball.
I'm saying if I get
I'm
drunk,
fine
I
with
might
that.
pick like Jaren Jackson with my first pick.
All right, that's fine.
It's not okay.
I
This
wanted to
team-
stream the draft, but
should.
bro, is it about to take like 5 hours?
If everybody's
Well,
in
listen,
at the same time,
I want to get that out the way right now. First of all, I picked the Rockets. That's a surprise team if everybody's wondering.
Amen.
I picked the Rockets. I wanted to pick the
He's
Knicks.
about to be your first round pick.
Chill Takes
Yep. Shout out to Darren.
took the Knicks from me. I DM'd him and I said, maybe he's a Knicks fan. I'm going to benefit of the doubt. He hit me back and said, nah, bro, I root for the Warriors. And I said, why'd you take the Knicks? And he said, oh, they haven't won a championship. I want to win a championship with a team that hasn't won a championship. Wait, motherfucker, don't you think I want to do the same thing? I want to win a championship with the Knicks. So, whatever. I'm going to let them have it.
Did you see how I set up the league? It's kind of awesome.
What is it?
I didn't even check.
It's 14 games, so we're not going to be able to play everyone.
That's cool, though.
The first round is one game. If you win, you move on. The next round is you win, you move on. I think the conference and the finals are best of 3.
That's valid.
No
so
best of 5s?
I have
Finals,
best of 3,
best of
so
5.
that way we can have good turnover. So that way we can get on to
through
season.
Finals, you could have did best of 5.
I think that's a great way.
finals I could probably be convinced to do best of 5,
So
but that's a lot of
14
games.
total.
14 games, yeah.
That's so
interesting.
easy.
I was
so easy.
I was happy that we could do 14. I
We
feel
were
like
talking about 29 last time.
facts.
So now
I'm
here's
so
the
far with
question I
14.
have. I don't know everybody's opinion. I know Drew's opinion on it, but Riv, I don't think you've clarified yours. Dehls, I don't think you clarified yours. Is it going to be 15 teams?
Bro, there's already like almost 30. I think that the full.
So the league
league's
is
full.
filled?
Yeah, I sent out invites.
Okay.
They took forever to accept them, but they did accept them. The league is full.
You know what? I think for sure we just have to make sure that everybody is going to be on time for this draft. It's not even a bad idea just maybe doing a draft on a playback or something.
Not crazy.
Everybody just being in that playback and just doing a draft. And if people want to pull up and watch it, it's fine. But we have everybody
Fuck
on
my
stage.
Twitch for sure.
No, 100%.
We could do it on your Twitch too.
That's all right.
No,
I'm
fuck
just
his
saying,
Twitch.
whatever easier, because I don't
I
know how you
understand.
do it on
Playback,
Twitch.
we got to show some love to playback. I get it. But
Your Twitch could wait.
probably could do both. You stream it on playback,
Yes,
and then I
that's
stream it.
true.
Yeah, fact. But it should be interesting. I am worried about the draft and how long it's going to take. But you had the good idea. 7 rounds. Hopefully nobody takes the full minute to take their pick. Thinking about 30 seconds, but we won't do that.
7 or 8 rounds.
Yeah, 7 rounds.
Confirm.
7 rounds. 7 rounds. You get 7
That's
players.
fine. You get 5
7
starters, you
picks.
get 2 bench players.
Realistic, like you'll in my league, especially 5-minute quarters, they'll do the subbing out and they'll run through like the 10-man, 11-man
I do it
roster.
myself.
But facts, you just run 7 usually.
So essentially, whoever is first to free agency is going to get some high level players.
Yeah, but I think that I have vetoing on. Like if you sign someone that's egregious, the league can vote on it or some shit like that. But I mean, I don't know what free agents are going to be available like that. Like maybe
There'll be
PJ
someone with like
Tucker.
a AA plus 3 though, or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's all about the fit. Yeah,
that's true.
It's all about the fit. But the Rockets are who we're talking about. The Houston Rockets, I feel like if I'm grading them off of expectation, it's an A.
Mm-hmm.
But these grades, I want it to be relative to everybody in the league.
I agree.
So this is a B.
B.
They've came a long way in their rebuild. Alperen Şengün is a building block.
He is.
Amen Thompson looks awesome. Cam Whitmore looks awesome. Jalen Green is coming into his own. Jabari Smith is playing really well. I think the Rockets are doing an amazing job right now. Ime Udoka changed around the culture there. And I think this is just a very good competitive team. B might be underselling it to expectation, but relative to the league, I think it is around a B.
I'm with you. I think it's a B as well. They already have more wins this season than they did all of last year. And coming into the season, we just wanted to see growth from this team. Moving on to Ime Udoka has been a huge W for them, as Riv guns me down right here. Amen Thompson has been nothing short of sensational for them. Fred has dealt with some injuries, but when he's played, he's been real good. As you mentioned, Şengün is the building block for that team. And I think that's what this season has kind of, crystallized, is that Şengün should be the building block. This is who they're going to build around. Guys like Jalen Green, we'll see how they fit on this team. But then you have other dudes like Cam Whitmore, who's been able to play at a really high level, especially for his expectation as a rookie, being drafted, was a 20th overall, kind of dropped in the draft and ended up being a steal for them as we look at it now. So coming into the year, we wanted to see growth. We wanted to see Ime's fingerprint on this team, and I think we've seen both.
I feel like I understand where you guys are coming from, giving them a B. To me, I've never was bought in on the hype of Houston while they were playing great early on. If they could play every game at home, shit, they would be one of the best teams in the league. But unfortunately, that's just not how the NBA works. They're not that good of a team at all on the road. But given expectations, you're right. They definitely have overachieved. Their veterans have done a great job of mentoring the young guys, and the young guys themselves have been playing pretty damn good on their own. A man you mentioned, Cam Whitmore, has been playing some really solid basketball. Jabari Smith, where he hasn't been like eye-poppingly great on, of course, just understanding that Sengun is the franchise piece as they currently stand. But Jabari has not been playing bad basketball by any means. I just look at how they've been able to play as a whole. They don't have a winning record. They are playing in a tough conference in the West. They do have some positives to look at them, but I give them a C. I understand that they're just a slightly under average team that has a future. And if we're going to go based off future, you should be excited for the future of the Houston Rockets. They are trending in the right direction. With Ime as their head coach, it would leave me to feel optimistic about this team. But as they currently stand, I give them a C. They've kind of fallen off tremendously based off how they started off. But I feel like that was to be expected. They're a young team.
I'll give them a B. I think, for teams like the Rockets, you have to kind of look at them from a different perspective than the playoff teams. They came in, they had two top 10. No, they have two top 5 talents for sure, but they got Cam late. They picked Amon with the 4th pick or the 5th pick, whatever it was, 3rd pick possibly.
Pick 4.
Yeah, so and then the year before that, they had Jabari. Before that, they had Green, Sengun. So this is a young team that's been in the lottery for the past couple seasons. You get a new coach, to come in and kind of change the philosophy, change the dynamic, change the culture. And I feel like they've done that. They have not been good on the road, but they've been excellent at home. They protected home court. And that's what you want. And then, guys like Amon, Cam, they've been excellent in their roles. You see the increased role, the increased ability from both. They're both generational. I love to see it. But then Sengun breaking out to be the star he is. The only issue is what is going to happen to Jalen Green. I think that is the one unfortunate crutch. He has been unfortunately dealt the worst hand because he was at the start of this AAU program that was in shambles. They didn't have no program, no culture. They were just playing games out there. And he's the guy that kind of hasn't bounced back from it. You want to hold faith into a guy who's a top 5 pick, a guy who has a scoring ability. But with Amon coming up, Cam coming up, you have Tari Eason, who's kind of like your pit bull, the heart and soul for your team. You got Sengun running the offense. It's looking real strange and dark for him, but I think the Houston Rockets, they're a competitive team. They play good basketball almost every night. They may not have the wins to show for it, but B grade for how they play.
So I think this would be a fun little exercise to do. I think the Rockets are interesting because they're a young team that they're competitive now, and it's kind of surprising. At their best, who is the player comp for the best young players on the Houston Rockets, starting with Alperen Sengun?
Who's his comp to
Yeah.
the
He's
best?
probably
I think we're
in
gonna
the middle of Joker and Sabonis.
I was going to
like
say,
that.
I'll go
I like that.
Sabonis because it's a little bit much to say he comps to the best
waiting
player
to
in the
say
league.
So are we all in agreement? Top 20 player in the league one day.
Ooh,
I can see top 20.
it's tough. That's why I say in the middle because it's tough for a player.
Sabonis top
But
20?
if
That's the thing. Like
He's close
he's
to it.
borderline, but if Jokic is 1 and Sabonis is 20, if he's in between,
It's tough for a player of that caliber, like a post-efficient big that has the playmaking chops but isn't the greatest defender, to be like top 10, top 15 stay is hard, especially with the league now. But that's why I say he's in between because he could be a little closer to Joker, maybe he's a little closer to Sabonis. I don't know. He's tough.
So let's just say all-star, close
All-star
to
for
all
sure.
NBA player
All-star for
around
sure.
there between Jokic and Sabonis. Next up, Amen Thompson.
Says John Morant.
I like Lonzo Ball. If he can improve that jump shot.
but neither of them. I have questions
I
about
know that's
both
kind
of
of
those
tough because I
topics.
just said the same
That
for
is disrespectful.
Sengun. I just go off play style, and I feel like John Morant is the comp.
That is disrespectful.
Me saying Lonzo
I think
Ball?
so.
Why?
I think he could be. I think he's a.
Do you know how much Lonzo Ball impacted
not
winning when he was
I
healthy?
think he's a multiple-time All-Star.
Amen Thompson.
Amen.
Yeah.
I know you're in love with him, man.
I am.
Listen,
What
I
would-
know
what
you're
would
in
your
love
comp
with
be?
in love with the man.
I think I said it. No, we were talking about last night. I was like,
No, you told me he was gonna be better than Tyrese Halliburton.
No,
and
that was the
Tyrese
trolling
Maxey.
part.
That was the
Remember-
craziest shit I ever heard, by the way.
remember
he
last
was being
night?
so
That
I
just
said-
goes to show how much he likes Amen Thompson.
No, that was the trolling part. Remember I said peak Drew Holiday.
I'm so happy you brought
You
that
did
up.
say peak
I
facts.
said peak Drew Holiday. I think I could see that.
I like that.
But
like,
he's so much more athletic, though.
well, we're just, I don't want to go
saying like
extreme.
all-star level type
Okay,
dude.
so I'll say this. Better than Lonzo Ball, but Lonzo Ball type of player with how he impacts winning. Elite defense.
Yes.
He can play make.
He can.
And the next step for him is he got to hit open shots.
Agreed.
But that's the biggest
I
question.
think Amen can legitimately run an offense, though.
40% of shots.
That's why I say maybe
Poor man's jaw.
that's fair. Maybe saying that Lonzo was a little too disrespectful because I was thinking his before days. You know what I'm saying? But I think Amen can. Like, I don't think Lonzo could run an offense. I think Amen can legitimately run.
I don't
an
think
offense.
he'll ever be as good as Ja offensively, but be way better defensively.
Yeah.
So next name up is Cam Whitmore.
Ooh.
Cam Whitmore's tough. Yeah, because he's still,
doesn't
29
pass the ball
games
ever.
in.
And what's
can
his
shoot.
ceiling?
He's athletic.
He doesn't.
He averaged. Can you guess how many assists?
Why
he
is
averaged
Danny
per game?
Granger coming to
0.8.
mind?
Point something.
0.4.
No, he doesn't pass.
Oh
it.
my goodness.
Danny Granger's a good
I was
one.
going to say
He's a
Danny
jack.
Granger comes
He's
to
way
mind.
more athletic.
But
He
Danny
is.
Granger
He
got the
is.
strap. Cam Whitmore don't got that.
He can shoot though.
Now he could.
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
Danny Granger
No,
was
Danny Granger-
Nah,
Water.
Danny Granger was knocked down.
He's more. He had the athleticism
Granger
though.
shoots.
I think
definitely shot.
I'm looking at the build. The build.
He's not
remind-
even Danny Granger's height though.
Nah, what is he like 6'6"?
6'7", but he's
6'7".
strong.
He's 6'7".
Though. He's
What was Danny Granger? What
6'9".
6'8"?
He's about 6'8", 6'9",
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I'm thinking that 3, and also he's young as fuck.
A worse passing Jaylen Brown.
I think they play different.
I think there's
they
but I
played
mean, younger Jaylen Brown was more. He's kind of slowed his down in
that's
slowed
a
his
good
game
point.
down in a sense.
Damn,
He's
I
not
don't
in the
know.
post now.
Cam's is difficult. I don't know
It is a tough one.
because I don't know if his play style is conducive to winning. Like just that not passing shit. Like
Yeah.
the shit's getting a little out of
He
hand.
is 19 to be fair.
Yeah, he's really young.
He does- what is it? When we watched the old numbers on the board show when we were in Vegas, and he was like, "Hey, they say you don't see a shot you don't like. It's the truth. He gets the ball, and he's like, I'm gonna get mine."
I don't know. I think that's finding his comp is a little hard for me.
Mine would be kind of shades of Jaylen Brown and Miles Bridges. I'm still in
I can
the
see
ringer
Miles
stuff
Bridges.
with the shades of stuff.
Yeah.
Closer to Miles Bridges though.
I can see Miles Bridges for sure.
I can see
good.
Miles. He's athletic, attacks the rim. Miles Bridges has a good shot, decent shot to him though.
What
Okay, I'm
shooting
fine
almost
with that.
40%. He's a dumb percent.
Yeah, OD. I like that. Miles Bridges makes sense.
Jabari Smith.
Tobias Harris.
Okay. Interesting.
Not in a bad way. Good
No,
point.
no, that's not disrespectful.
No.
No, I've been very disrespectful in Tobias' name in the past, you know?
Interesting. Jabari is interesting, man. There's just so many players on that team that need the ball.
Jabari, I'm trying to comp him to a 6'10" stretch 4.
How about a poor man's
That's a plus
Amari
defender.
Stoudemire? New York.
I don't think Jabari got the athleticism or the slashing ability that
Doesn't, but I
Amari
think he
got.
has the
He has
the
like
stretch.
physically
Nah.
imposing as Amari.
Like for me,
he's taller.
I'm
he's
thinking
taller,
of a player
but like Amari's got like
that's
some
a spot-up
powerness,
shooter.
you
Spot
know.
up shooter.
like a spot up shooter at
How
the
about-
4 spot stretch.
I know
4.
Al Horford comes to mind, but he's definitely not that.
How about
That's a good one. It's
Cleveland
close.
Kevin Love?
Cleveland Kevin Love is not bad.
that is really good.
if Jabari, if Kevin Love was a better defender, I would
Yes,
say.
but he's a worse passer. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
here.
I don't know.
We're somewhere.
Kevin Love has one of the best defensive stops I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, great. One play sample size. This Jabari's tough. I hope the comments
I
can help
guess
us out
I'll
with
go.
that.
I'll go Al Horford if I had to say.
That's not
Al
bad.
Horford
I think that's a
defensively,
close
though.
one.
No, you're right. You're right. It's
But the
hard.
6'10",
Yeah.
I think could play the 4. If he bulks up, could play the 5. I don't think that's terrible. I really
How
don't.
about Paul Millsap?
Oh, you thought of his counterpart in Atlanta.
I did, yeah.
That's
Paul
good.
Millsap.
That's
what I thought
good.
about,
Yeah.
He popped up in the braid.
Okay.
Is Laurie
I don't mind
Markin
that.
in the stretch?
Because Jabari feels like I almost feel like
I see why you say that. I see why you
this
say
version of Laurie.
Is Laurie more
like
of a
no
perimeter
shit.
Not like
player?
Not this
Cleveland
version of
version of Laurie.
that. Oh,
I think that
makes more sense.
That's fair.
Him in Utah's. It's beautiful, man. It's
I ain't gonna
beautiful.
lie, it's beautiful. It's
It really is.
Jalen Green, I think, is the easiest comp for him.
Cam Thomas.
It's
Oh, wait, sorry.
Zach LaVine.
Don't ever disrespect that.
Like the
I don't
absolute
even
ceiling.
know if he can get that at
don't
this
think so?
point. Zach was a 27
No, he
game
was.
guy.
He was. I'm just thinking of a 6'6", hyper
Go like
athletic
poor man's
shooting guard.
I'm fine with poor man Zach LaVine. That's a fine comp.
How about? Damn, I'm trying to think. How about Michael Redd?
It's not terrible.
20 point per
I
game
love
scorer.
Michael Redd.
I do too.
I love Michael Redd.
I don't know. Jalen Green's tough. He is pretty tough. I don't know.
J.R. Smith.
Oh, that's wow. I mean, if he gets that, I would hate that.
Yeah, that's not terrible.
I think
Yeah,
J.R.
those
Smith.
spark
Jared, I
plugs.
mean, you just have to know your role.
that's tough. To go from the top 3 pick to J.R. Smith, respect to J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith's an all-time role player.
For sure.
Like I said, but to go to top 3 pick to all time role player, I would hate that for myself.
I
And
get it.
aura-wise, he's damn near S tier.
Aura-wise, he is 100%.
Who, JR?
Yeah.
God,
He
that's
is
so
God
true.
tier in Aura.
I can't believe I had hella years of J.R. Smith on my team. It was viral.
The Knicks really traded him for nothing.
We got him and Amon for nothing.
Yeah, it was honestly ridiculous. So before we move on to our next batch of grades, gotta stop the action. Shout out to PrizePicks
Absolutely.
for sponsoring the show. In the top left, the right there, or it's your right, it's to
right
my
here.
left. PrizePicks use code PAS, 100% deposit match up to $100.
Yes, sir.
How you guys been feeling recently with PrizePicks and some entries, guys? Got anything you want to talk about?
You know what? I actually do, and it's one that I probably should have mentioned a little while ago. I put in a lay for the bull. I know it's been a minute, but I put in a lay for the bull. And what absolutely crushed me was I missed out on a band because Isaiah Pacheco decided to have his worst game of the postseason.
Oh, wow.
Because he could not get into the end zone, and he just kept fumbling once they got
He
into
had
the red
multiple
zone.
opportunities.
Bro, I had the more on Kelsey yards. That ended up hitting towards late fourth
Scary
quarter.
first half.
It was. I had more on, of course, Christian McCaffrey's touchdown. You should always take the touchdown. I had more on Mahomes' yards. I had more on Brock Purdy's yards, and all I needed was Pacheco to score the touchdown, and I would have had a band.
The thing I
It'd
like
be
about
like that sometimes.
I like PrizePicks because it's just so versatile. Like it has so many
So many
different
plays.
things you can bet on, so many different things you could just connect with. Like it's for me, it's better than FanDuel because you can even get the undercover stuff, like or you can bet on the players that don't even be shown on FanDuel, and it gives you a good way to make money. Like it doesn't give you these ridiculous odds or give you these terrible. Like
Yeah,
it
it's
gives
simplified.
you a good
Yeah.
fundamental way to just make money the right way, and I like it like that. PrizePicks is dope.
I appreciate PrizePicks, and this is going to be a segment presented about PrizePicks upcoming. We're going to speed run some grades through teams that I know that we're not going to go ad nauseum and talk about.
That's fine.
Coming up. So the first team, the Washington Wizards.
F.
This is an
worst
F.
team in the league.
Shout out to Bilal, but this is an F.
He is nice. as
He
shit.
just
Denny.
started for the first, I don't know, first time.
Oh,
but
Denny
starting
better.
That's my guy.
consistently. Denny's been
Which he was
playing
on a
really
better
well,
team.
too.
This
You're telling
is an
me.
F
This
as
is not
well.
like-
Corey Kispert I also wish was on the better team.
Fair enough. Corey Kisper's really good or underappreciated basketball player.
Next team, the Portland Trail Blazers.
I think I gave him a D minus.
To be honest, this could be an F too.
I mean, honest, FD don't really care.
No, they're not a good team. They have a group of young players.
Simons has been hooping though.
He has been.
His defense is horrible.
Yep.
I wouldn't play defense either.
Shaden's efficiency's terrible.
He's been hurt though.
Scoot's efficiency.
and Scoot's
is bad.
efficiency. He's trying. He's been trying to fix it. It's been still pretty bad, but
I don't
he's
think
been
it's a
trending
good-
on the right way.
I don't think it's a good situation for Scoot either.
No.
That's a tough place to kind of fit yourself into next to a guard
Especially
like
he was hurt,
Simons.
yeah.
Especially the injury too on top of it. And DeAndre Ayton's been a bit of a disaster.
You could argue he's right there next to Poole. Worst contracts.
He gets paid more.
Ayton,
Yeah, you're right.
crazy.
He does. D minus.
And Poole has a ring. You have to always remember that.
The Blazers are an F for me.
Cool with that.
DeAndre is trash.
He's not
No,
good.
He's not good.
Shitty.
Yeah.
they
He's
also
not
probably
good.
should have traded Malcolm Brogdon.
The facts.
And they could have traded Matisse, Jeremy Grant, and Malcolm Brogdon.
Grant with his
Grant
contract
has
is
been one of
just-
the few.
He's been really
Yo,
good.
for
But
real.
he does this though.
He
We know
does.
he does this. Like,
He does.
His contract though is just massive too.
Is
Is it 170?
Dame,
Some crazy.
Dame, shout out to Dame for getting Jeremy
He got
Grant
his
that
bro
bag.
paid.
Yeah.
If Scoot
out to Dame for
Henderson
that.
was playing better, I think about a D.
Okay.
But because he's been kind of disappointing this year, even though it's his rookie year, they get an F. That's why this next team, the Spurs, I will give a D just for Wemby. Just for Wemby.
That is very fair.
I got to give him a C.
I'm
Wemby has put them to a C.
really.
Wemby has.
Devin
and
Vassell's
Devin
Vassell's
Vassell.
also really fucking
But
good.
Wemby has, by himself, made them a C.
I have a D because of Wemby. I didn't give them a F because of Wemby because they still have 9 wins if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but some of their games are electric.
Let me know if I'm.
Like last night's game against the Kings,
Electric.
they just at the end of games they're young. They're gonna they're gonna
just
fall
garbage.
apart against other vets or against veteran
Yeah,
teams.
Spurs
They're
have 11
and
wins.
45.
Excuse me, they have 11
They're
wins.
more than the Pistons.
They do, which is not that hard.
hate that.
But at the same time, there's 3 players I like on this team. Wemby, of course. Trey Jones, who fits very well next to Victor Wembanyama. I just think that as a point guard, if you're a playmaking guard, you can work well next to Victor. And Vassell, who obviously has the ability to score at a very efficient rate too. But outside of that, this offense is not good. But Wemby is unbelievable.
It's not a bad take having them at a C because of Wemby. Because Wemby is that much of a needle mover.
He's unbelievable.
For me.
How long?
Next team.
So before we go on, how long do you think it'll be until Wemby's the best player in the NBA?
5 years.
That is what my brain immediately
Like
went
best player, number one,
5
or
is the
one
first
of
thing
the
that
best.
popped up.
Just say best, because I think there's gonna be a time where he is unanimous best player in the league.
Best unanimous, I'll say 7-8.
Okay,
Bro.
just because defensively already,
I don't think there'll ever be
force.
Like outside of LeBron and MJ, I don't think there'll ever be another unanimous best player in the league.
Well, that's what the title was supposed to be for Victor. And if he didn't come in looking like this,
I think
I would have that.
Luka's 24.
Yeah, because Luka in 5-6
Fair.
years could be the best.
But
player
the
in league.
difference is, and this isn't shade. The defensive impact is so real.
It's team changing.
It's so real. On top of being able to create with the ball in his hands.
Offense though is like
Fair. No, definitely.
That's unreal.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Like,
but
we
Wemby's
can't just say
offense
like
can get not to Luka, of course. But it can be an elite
bro, you
level
see him?
offense.
He's 7'4", be taking step back threes and shit,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Like,
He can be an elite offensive player.
Those are great highlight clips and stuff, but in terms
percentages
of
are not
maximizing
pretty.
an offense, there's a reason why we're talking about getting Trae Young to San Antonio.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Wemby, I don't think will carry an offense. Luka Doncic, people forget this about him, but in his second year in the league, he led the #1 offensive rating in NBA history
For sure.
in his second year.
He's amazing.
You know, that to me speaks volumes, and that's the type of offense that he could change.
I agree.
He could turn around and make an offensive team historic.
was Wemby struggled more catch and shoot, right? And he was better pull up.
He's
right?
very good on the pull-up,
Yeah.
catch and shoot. He's terrible.
I get some badass passes.
The next team is the Memphis Grizzlies.
C because
C
Gigi
plus?
Jackson, Vince
I'm
Williams.
fine with that.
key-
C plus 2. I'm fine
If
with
you
that.
wanna do,
Jared
like-
Jackson, low key, has been getting better internally. He's been the leader. He's been the vocal leader. Defensively, he's had to switch positions. Like, he's been given a role, and it's been multiple roles, and he's been having to do a lot for that team. I think he's done
In a
that.
weird way, their worst season in a good amount of years, we could be talking about this year being one that benefited them the most.
Exactly.
They're going to get a really good pick in the draft this year. John Morant gets a full year of getting healthy, and these young kids are coming in and they're showing that they can play relatively high basketball very early on.
Yeah, basically all of their best players got hurt, so these young players got to step
Smart
up
and
and have
Bane
a
are
role.
nowhere near ready to come back.
No.
They're all might miss the rest of the season. We're ready.
And that's good for Smart because
because
I remember Smart last year. He was dealing with injuries, then came into this year. So this could be a full year of just recovering.
and they'll have a
to get
top
healthy.
5 pick probably at worst, and then they could add another role
Lottery.
player
You
to
never
this
know.
team.
You never know.
You'll
I
get something.
think C is fair because in a lost season, it feels like they've gained a ton.
Let me ask you guys a question. Is the lottery a sham? Yes or no?
Depends on who they're rooting
Is
for.
your question is, do you think it's rigged?
No.
That's your question.
Is it bullshit?
The NBA draft
I
lottery?
feel like it should go like NFL.
Should the worst team in the league fall to 5?
I feel like they should do how NFL does it.
I agree.
No lottery.
I think
No,
no
Just
lottery.
have the worst team get the
If you have the
first
worst
pick.
team, you should have the first pick.
I think it would just like everybody.
It's because
would
there's
tank.
so many small teams. The rosters are small. That's why they have the lottery.
I just feel like with basketball, it's easier for owner, front office person to tank than in football because in football, players are actually going out there and laying their
Incentive,
bodies
yeah.
on the line.
Oh, yeah.
For the game.
Agreed.
Where basketball, it's not really the same way. It's not that same level of physicality.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I feel like no NFL team tanks.
Yeah.
Really, no NFL team tanks. Where NBA,
I don't know if that's necessarily true per se.
very, very seldomly.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that has to be involved with
I
the
agree.
schematics of the game included. I don't know. The NBA just seems like it's much easier to tank if you want to.
Yes, for sure.
I get it. I just think that if you're a Pistons fans and you had back-to-back years of being the worst team in the league and you
Oh,
get
it's upsetting.
5,
I think the draft lottery's rigged. I think it's rigged.
I'll be
the
honest.
First
The
overall
Spurs
pick is
getting
rigged.
Spurs getting Victor was definitely iffy.
The Spurs got Victor. They got a history of getting big man, David Robinson, and then they had a bad season and they landed Tim
Timmy.
Duncan.
Yep.
Don't forget the
LeBron
Cavs,
James
too.
got the first. The Cleveland Cavaliers got the first pick when LeBron James was coming out.
And Wiggins.
The Chicago Bulls in 2009, or was it 2008?
It was 8.
Oh,
2000 was in
yes,
08.
in 2008, the Bulls
8, yeah.
had the 14th best odds to get the first overall pick. Virtually
It
no
was set in
chance.
stone. Derrick Rose
And they
from
got the
Chicago.
first overall pick.
That's like the Pelicans too. Remember when they had virtually
Exactly.
no chance to get Zion and they did
The
regardless.
story was just fit. Derrick Rose from
the
Chicago.
Cavs got
yeah.
4 first-round picks. That's the first 4
Oh,
number
first
1
overall,
overall
yeah.
picks.
After LeBron left the Cavs, they got 3 firsts.
Yeah.
Kyrie, Bennett, and Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 are solid basketball players.
Yeah. And Andrew Wiggins at first, it was looking
He
rough.
was.
It looking
He
ugly.
was not looking
Yes.
that good with Timberwolves.
I definitely think the draft lottery's rigged. The first overall pick, I definitely think the NBA dictates we want this player in this market.
Like John Wall coming out, the hype was real. You thought they were just like, yeah, Washington.
Maybe some years you could take a break.
It's probably more years like that than we think.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's just. What are the
It
odds?
would make more sense for them to rig star players to a bad like market team to try to get the team up.
With John Wall coming out of college, I really thought he was the one.
He was.
I really thought he was the one.
And low key, the Wizards at that point in time, the NBA knew they had a great market because they just had a great point guard in Gilbert Arenas. So they kind of gave them another one after Gilbert had injury issues. But I mean, there's just times when the story lines up perfectly, and how can it be coincidental? Like when the Knicks got Patrick Ewing with the first overall pick, there are just some moments where it just feels like this
too good to be true.
Can't be real. Like this too good to be true. Like what are the odds these Spurs got Victor Wembanyama?
Yep.
They were like what, fourth best odds?
They didn't have terrible odds.
It wasn't crazy. Yeah.
They definitely did the right thing and tanked last season.
Yeah.
The next team up, the Toronto Raptors.
I actually gave them a C because they did what we wanted the Bulls and the Nets to do. Even though I may not have loved their return for Pascal Siakam.
They gave up a first-round pick for Agbaji and Kelly Olynyk.
That was strange.
Yeah, that was weird. That was definitely.
They might love Agbaji. I like Agbaji.
I do too, but first-round pick.
Especially when trying to rebuild.
Oh, this is a C.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy.
Fine with that. Fine with that.
It's just if they were a little bit better, we weren't expecting them. We knew they were going to be worse without Pascal and OG, but I was expecting a little bit more than what they've been past those trades.
Yeah, they're just pretty average, honestly. Like,
but at least they gave themselves the direction. No, you're not disrespecting.
They did what we've been asking for years. So
what we wanted the Bulls and Nets to do, the Raptors did.
Yep. We're gonna speed run through these. No disrespect if your team is mentioned. There's just a reason why we're not going in depth on them. The Utah Jazz.
I have them in a similar category as the
Rockets?
The Rockets. I gave them the C+ because I think the Jazz are a better team. They're just in a conference that's hell. If you are a team like the Utah Jazz, you are pretty disappointed because you know you're a decent team just in a conference with a bunch of demons.
I gave them a C+. I don't know what direction they're going in. I don't know which one. I think they're waiting to figure out what it is. But nonetheless, they didn't blow up on, getting rid of Laurie, which made sense. They didn't blow up on getting rid of Jordan Clarkson. No, they kept their solid players, sent down a couple okay players and guys who they're not going to use for the future. So I give them a C+.
And they have a bunch of future assets. Yep. So they're fine to continue being probably the best lottery team and keep working with their future assets from the Wolves and from the Cavaliers.
Taylor Hendricks getting some minutes.
Yeah, it's been getting going. Even though he has been a little shaky.
It's probably like a C. I mean, he hasn't played basically all season long.
Trey Man almost dropped Keontae George the other day.
Keontae's shooting under 40% from the field right now.
Yeah. That crossover was bad. Oh my God.
The next team, the Philadelphia 76ers.
This is tough because of Embiid's injury.
This is why
because I like Buddy Hield. I like the.
You said B?
Yeah, I like the acquisition of Buddy Hield.
I was going to say I have him at a B-, where I fear that without Embiid, we're going to slowly see them drop in the standings. No slight to Maxey, will probably be your most improved player this season. Buddy Hield's been playing really well since signing with. No. It's been really good since signing with the Sixers, being traded to the Sixers. And then
that's a real in my opinion.
Picking up Kyle Lowry after losing Pat Bev. Really good pickup for them. If Embiid's back, our expectations are different, but right now where we sit, I have him at a B-.
With Embiid, it's an A. Without Embiid, they're teetering D. I give them a C-, but they're close.
They can't really win games, bro. Without Embiid, they're not winning.
And you're you're just giving them a C.
They could fall out.
I'll give them a B.
Okay.
In totality,
I was probably more like C+. What are they?
They got to figure it out. They got Cleveland tonight.
That's a big game.
Hey,
Donovan Mitchell's out again.
Hornets.
Yeah. Cleveland's going to lose.
What the fuck?
The Sixers are 3-7 in their last 10.
This is a legit mid-off.
I got the Sacramento Kings next just because maybe some people were high on them coming into the season, but they've I didn't really have too many high expectations. I had high expectations for Keegan Murray as an individual player, but in terms of them getting into an actual contention window,
is it crazy?
I never saw it.
What?
An F?
An F seems insane.
What about a D?
I'll give them a C+.
Okay, I have them at B-.
I just feel like they're stuck in a situation where, Fox is
now
great.
his hating's coming out.
No. Fox is, maybe F was crazy, but Fox is great. Sabonis is great.
He had the Pistons at F.
Because I think it's a different level of expectation.
I understand.
Fox is great. Sabonis is great. Keegan has been playing amazing.
Hell yeah.
But they're still, I feel like, two steps away from competing at a high level.
It's because their defense is still not good.
But they didn't choose to go out and make a move. And I understand it might not have been a move made like that was there for them, but I feel like they didn't even attempt to try to figure out this roster.
Wasn't it they wanted to try? Well, they were looking into Pascal. That was one of the projected destinations.
I thought
they didn't want to resign. Right?
Yeah, that might have been what it was. But I look at the big three of this team, and honestly, they've gotten better in in their own way in their each
Monk
regards.
is the third, right?
No, I'm talking about Keegan Murray.
Monk's
been really fucking good, most definitely. Would you say he's the number 3?
Could argue on nights.
Okay. I only just say the big 3 for the future. I see it's Keegan, it's
Keegan's
De'Aaron.
like 2 years younger than Monk.
No, most definitely.
Okay.
No, Monk's a very, very good 6-man off the bench. He's a very good basketball player.
Maybe F was strong, but relative to expectations.
Because Sabonis has gotten better from relative to last year, which is saying something.
But Fox got better.
Everyone's getting better and they got worse.
And they just...
It's not... I don't know if they got worse per se or the league got better.
But they didn't get better with
They didn't get better either, yeah.
Exactly.
They got a bit worse.
They got internally better.
Yeah.
Not as a team.
It's weird because as a team, they didn't get better. But like I just mentioned, their big 3
individually, internally, yeah.
I think at the end of the day, I know you love Sabonis. They don't have a dude that could win them a championship on this team. That's kind of what you're going to run into.
Fox is a playoff riser. At least we saw that against Sacramento.
Fox and Sabonis,
Fox and
Sabonis aren't going to win you a title, with all due respect to the Kings fans out there.
That Keegan Sabonis Fox is really good.
Just keep it on it, like
funky, bro.
But Keegan, I think we've highlighted this in the past. Defensively, he's been a lot better. Malik Monk should be 6th man of the year, if not top 2, top 3 in consideration. Sabonis has gotten better. Fox started off the year pretty hot. Kind of had some issues in the middle of the season and lately, but being the 8th seed right now after just having the season you did last year, where you were a top 3 seed in the West and then lost in the first round, even though it was against the Warriors and it was pretty split publicly who would win one way or the other, I would expect a bit better than the 8th seed.
The Kings are 32-23. If they were in the Eastern Conference, they'd be tied for the 5th seed right now.
I feel like we say that with
That's
every
still
team.
pretty average.
But he said D, F.
I'm a C.
Oh no, that was crazy.
I did apologize.
That's why I started with D.
Wait, what do you have them at? C+?
I gave him a B-.
I don't know about that one.
So we're right there.
No, me and you are fine.
Yeah, we're knocking on each other's
me and you
doors.
are fine. I'm not having an issue
I'm
with
at
you.
C. I'm at the lower end. Ribs at the lowest end.
No, I said I'm
In
managing.
the grand
if you're a
scheme of
Kings
things,
fan-
the West is great. The Kings' offense is still really good. Their defense is lagging behind.
If you're a Kings fan, I think you're disappointed about this season, how it's going.
But again, this is a great record. Like in the grand scheme of things, this is a
Can
great
they beat
record.
anybody in the first round?
That's unfair because the West is great.
That's the expectation.
No, but that's
not
the
unfair.
point.
That's the reality.
That's not their expectation.
You're
They
giving-
lost in
you're
the
giving
first
them a-
round last
They
year.
gotta, bro.
Then they gotta get better.
They
from
gotta,
that.
yeah, they gotta get out the
You're
first
giving them a
round.
But
B
they
because
have
they're
gotten better.
No,
They have
you're
gotten
giving
better.
them
The
a
big
B
three has gotten better.
because they got better, but they can't seem to get more wins than other teams.
But they have 32 wins.
they were a second seed last
very
year.
firmly above 500.
They actually have basically the same win percentage this year and last year.
The West got better.
58.2.
But they did not get better with the West.
But
You're
that's-
supposed to get better.
But again,
Memphis
their
didn't get better.
core-
They fell off and they got hurt and they fell
That's
down.
unfortunate.
Phoenix
But again-
got better. Denver got better. Minnesota honestly just got healthier, but they got slightly better too.
Clippers got healthier,
better.
yes.
They did not progress. They decided to wait and not make a move.
They were
and
just the
sit there.
5th seed a couple days
So you
ago.
don't think
my
this has
point.
been a disappointing season for them?
No, not really.
You don't think they should be higher? They should at least finish with a top 5-4 seed?
Again, because of how close that 5 through 9 is. Well, I'll stop at 8 realistically because there's like a 3-game gap between the
But you don't
Kings.
believe in the 5-19 Dallas is in it, and you think Dallas would be.
No, they're definitely winning.
I'll be honest. There's no world the Kings win a playoff series.
No,
this
I
year.
don't think
There's
so
no world.
either.
That's
They might not win.
good.
They might not
But
win the
that's
playing
not.
game.
I feel like if you're a Kings fan, you understand your expectation, especially after
it's just-
underwhelming.
That sounds harsh.
If you don't
underwhelming
make
in
the
playoffs.
playoffs,
No, they should though. In terms of being.
What if they meet the Lakers or the Warriors in a play-in?
that
They're playing,
the
they're probably
Suns,
not- they're
Lakers,
underdogs.
and Warriors are going to be in the play.
But let me ask you: Are Kings fans not going into that understanding they're underdogs?
I
No,
feel
they're
like
going in
Kings
thinking they
fans
can
are-
win.
Kings fans went into the season saying last year we went to playoffs.
We're
we
here.
took the Warriors to 7 games.
We won the
This
playoff
year we got to win
series.
the playoff series. What you said is harsh, but let's go over it. Do they beat the Nuggets?
no,
Do they beat the Clippers?
No.
Do they beat
No shot.
OKC?
No.
No.
Do they beat the Mavericks?
No.
Probably
Phoenix,
not.
no.
Do they beat the Suns? You said no. Do they beat the
Probably
Pelicans?
not.
That's
Pelicans-
the closest.
But Pelicans,
matchup for them.
realistically, they're not going to play the Pelicans.
The Pelicans are the most
in first.
underappreciated
Do they beat the
team in the
Lakers?
league.
Probably
So you
not.
think the Pelicans win?
I like the
So what you're
Pelicans.
telling me is that the Kings would not win a playoff.
But I feel like that's
It
not them
sounds like
being
they're
disappointed.
like 10th
Drew,
best team
they
in the
can't
West
even
right
beat
now.
the play-in teams.
I don't feel like it's an indictment on them, more so giving praise to the other teams.
it's also in the diamond. It could be both.
It's both.
But again, we just went over it. Their big 3 are better this year than they were last year. And you just mentioned their win percentage is the same as it was relatively to last year. You look at the West, they simply got
So,
better.
let me ask you a question.
They got healthier.
No, for sure.
If
But
they lose in the first round and Sabonis does not play well, Fox
different
plays well. Do you
conversation.
drop their grade?
Of course, it's
Okay.
a different conversation.
Wait, hold up. I don't understand that.
think
Because Sabonis
I don't
has
either because he just said he doesn't believe they're going to
because
get
it's
the
about
No, because I
expectations.
say-
It's not
I
about
say
who
because
got better.
that's-
The
But the
expectations was
expectation is make the playoffs. If you're a Kings fan, your expectation should
And
be
win a
we're
first-round
playing.
series.
we just said that we don't think they're even going to make it out of the play-in.
Again, the West is tough though. It's not an indictment on them.
But
The
the
Kings
West,
last
we
year
knew
had
the West
48
was tough
wins.
coming into the year.
The Kings last year have 48 wins.
they seem like they could get to around 40
For sure, but I think if you're trying to progress each year, they should be at least at 50 this year. That's why it was hard to improve off of last year because they snuck up on teams. I'm not going to give them a pass because the Cavaliers, what is their expectation in the East? I mean, where do people have them in the East? I think it's a similar expectation. The Cavaliers and the Kings, the Cavaliers have just been better this year, and they've been able to prove
I don't
themselves
know if
to the point that you believe in
I
them.
wouldn't say that that's true per se for the fact of Donovan Mitchell is just better as a basketball player than everyone on the
So
Kings.
let's do it this way then. If the Kings were in the East, do they beat the Celtics in a playoff series?
No.
Do they
They
beat,
could beat the Pacers. They could beat the Sixers.
could
as
they beat the
stand
Cavaliers
right now.
or the Knicks or the Bucks?
I would favor the Cavaliers. They have the better player, and the two interior would cause hell
Sabonis
for
will be in
Sabonis.
hell.
Yes.
I think I would favor all three teams.
So we're talking about the Kings in the West.
not even
Would you
the four-
favor the Sixers? Would you favor the Pacers?
With Joel
If
Embiid,
the-
100%.
Wait, the
Sixers.
Kings aren't just going to walk over the Pacers.
I'm not saying walk
Because
over.
they
also
them.
can't
go
guard.
series.
There's a good
Yeah,
series,
that's a
but I'm
series.
saying you're giving them a chance. Is my
Oh, yeah,
question.
for sure.
All right.
It's a team that is similar to them in the East. That is
Agreed.
literally their combination.
where
I agree.
where we land right now, though, is that the Kings can't win a playoff series in the West, and in the East, they're nothing more
They
than
need
a
a
first
really,
round.
really good, favorable matchup.
They're nothing more than advancing past the first
Like
round.
I said,
team.
they would be tied for 5th right now, so they would match up against the Knicks.
L.
Who would you have? The Knicks?
I would take the Knicks. You know my opinion on the Knicks, but it'd be a good series.
It would be a good series.
They have a
If you-
puncher's chance in that series.
If you are a team that's ceiling is the second round, making the first round at best in both conferences, you're an average team. Below average team, I would say.
below,
Yeah.
Probably
to
average.
playoff
Probably
teams,
average. That's like the
relative to-
15th best team.
Relative
Yeah.
to playoff teams,
Uh-huh.
I mean, when you have teams that would be licking their chops to face you in the first round,
Every team wants the
think
Kings
you
in the
don't.
first round.
That's not a B grade.
But
That's
again-
to me a C, C plus.
but they're better than last year. Like the big three is better than
But
last year.
I think we're getting lost that a lot of these grades I feel like we've been doing were based on expectations. We were not expecting to go into this saying the Kings might even make the playoffs. Right now, we're having the conversation. We just listed 9 teams in the West we think are better or are going to win in a playoff
They're not
situation
a
slash
foregone
play-in.
lock to make the playoffs. They can fall in the
can.
play-in.
They have been
If they go
disappointing.
up against the Lakers or Golden State,
they just have
I'm
they have a
taking
good
both
win
teams.
percentage.
Because even if they say they rise to 5, because it's a 2.5 game
Yes.
gap between 5 and 8, you're playing the Nuggets, Clippers, OKC, or Wolves in the first
You
round.
don't even want that as a kid.
But again, that 5 through 8, regardless of who you are, does not matter what team you are, you're not happy in that first round matchup.
I don't disagree.
No, I think Dallas is happy if they play OKC.
No, right now they would play the Clippers.
I think they're fine with that.
Are they happy with
I
that?
think
I don't know if
Dallas
they're
is-
happy with that. But
That's my point. You're
I
not
think Dallas
happy.
is fine with that.
no, but the difference is that the Mavericks have a chance against all those
Dallas
teams.
is
The
that's
Kings
a matchup.
don't.
That's a matchup they like. They match up well against the.
But if
are
I'm the Clippers,
better?
I
Yes.
go in with the confidence, hey, we've done it before, we
of
can do
course,
it
but
again.
Wait, hold up.
Of
But
course.
I'm kind
I
of
know
stuck
it's a
on this
different team with
idea
the Mavs.
that, for one, the Kings made the playoffs last year.
Yes.
So you're telling me this year the expectation was we'll just lose in the first round
That's
again?
not the expectation.
That's why I think it's been disappointing. And just to contextualize the disappointment and put it into numbers, De'Aaron Fox this year has not been the same fourth quarter player he was last
sure.
year. He actually has fallen off a cliff in the fourth quarter this year opposed to last year.
Correct.
That's pretty disappointing for me. Where
agree.
last year, every time in the fourth quarter, I thought he was going to do something heroic. This year, they're blowing games.
They are.
So I think they're a disappointing team this year for me.
That's
personally.
tough. That's tough for me to sit with, but I get where you guys are coming from. Understanding of the expectation coming in, I just see the win percentage and think, hey, if they're in the other conference, it's different conversation, or at least slightly different.
You know, we talk so much that even when we do speed runs, it still turns into 5-minute things.
The Kings I knew would be something like that, though.
The speed run that we did, just to recap, was the Wizards, Blazers, Spurs, Grizzlies, Raptors, Jazz, Sixers, Kings. Now, unfortunately, right now we will have to stop the show because Riv is coaching a basketball
Here we go.
game.
Playoff
today.
game, right?
Championship game.
Championship
game. He's on his Ime Udoka run.
not a great
we
end for
started
me.
the year slow. We were 1-3. Bounced back with 2 wins. Got into the playoffs. Walked in as a 4th seed. Played the 1st seed, best team in the league. Smoked them. They smoked us all year. We
Fire.
smoked them.
Fire.
No, like smoked them. I was talking crazy. I'm like, yeah. Like we here. I'm
How old are these kids?
like 12. But I was talking crazy to the coach.
Yeah.
So now we're going up against top seed. But yes, I do have to go lock in and get this done.
The teams that we have left that we will save for next show: the Clippers, Lakers, Timberwolves, Pelicans, Thunder, the Suns in the West. In the East, the Bucks, the Knicks, the Magic, the Pacers, the Heat. So just know, if we kept this podcast going, this is going at 3 hours.
Did we stop halfway? We did 5th. How many teams do we have left?
That seems about half.
12. We have 12 left.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's
we
fine.
have
Part
12
1, part
left.
2.
All right, I like that.
So next episode, look forward to that on the basketball side of things. We'll still be talking football, but it'll be more selective because we are in the off season.
Facts.
But thank you guys for watching. If you guys are listening, make sure to support Magic Mind. The link is in our bio. You saw how locked in we were with Magic Mind. You got to go support Magic Mind. And then PrizePicks. Use code PAS. 100%
Right above my fro.
deposit match up to $100. Thank you guys for watching. You guys can follow us on TikTok, Instagram at Pick Us Out Podcast, Twitter at Pick Us Out Pod, and we'll see you guys next time.
I have to